Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brewbuilt Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brewbuilt line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brewbuilt Conicals. You can trust Brewbuilt with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brewbuilt at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Great beer is about drinkability. Doesn't matter the style.
You guys are like walking beer Wikipedia. That's the first time that you've ever accepted me as a person.
Or you have a fermentation in your gut.
I'm jet propelled at all times.
How many guys do you think that you have the privilege to slap?
Somebody who's never tasted a commercial example, and this is how you know everything about this beer? Please, you don't.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too.
Wow. Are you guys going to arm wrestle?
No. We're going to teabag fight instead.
You heard of Junkyard Wars?
Can I get another high five, Beavis?
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
All right, welcome to the program, everybody. Our first live public broadcast from the Hop Grenade in Concord, California. We're actually open for business now and pouring beer to real people, not just ourselves, which is what we've been doing for our last couple of test shows out of here. Yeah. People were, peeking in the window over the last few weeks, seeing us sitting in here drinking. Well, the rest of it was a construction zone. Sort of cheated. But now we're open to everybody.
No, that's wide open. The beer's flowing.
Doc, it's like nothing's changed for Doc. He comes strolling in 5 minutes after we start, just like any other show. Nothing special here, Doc.
I was talking to our guest.
Well, the difference is that he was here already.
Well, that's true. He didn't make it on time. A lot of great beer pouring out there. Did you guys see that?
Definitely.
Yeah, what a great lineup. Wow.
21 taps at the Hop Grenade. So as far as the show is concerned, it's kind of an upgrade because it used to be 4 taps and maybe one of them would work at our last studio. And
now,
now
the same beer on for like 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a testament that we don't drink enough. But
that's true.
Here we have our choice of beer.
We have help.
Yeah, and we got a great show planned for you tonight because the boys from the Rare Barrel are here out of Berkeley, California.
Yeah.
Shows their beer.
And their beer.
Great guys, great beer.
When's that going on tap?
It will be going on tap when we begin speaking to the Rare Barrel gentlemen.
Justin was worried that the beer would kick before the guys got on the mics. If we put it, I was like, 5:30, get it on. Justin was like, oh, no.
No, we're waiting. Well, I was afraid that by the time, we go to talk about the beer, it won't even be on tap anymore.
Well, it looked like it said tap, just tapped as I walked in.
Oh, they did just put one on?
Just put one on.
All right, well, we have 2, luckily, so one will be gone, and we still have the other ones to talk about. Well, because the Rare Barrel, it's a fantastic brewery, and everyone's excited about their beer. We've been raving about them here on the program for a while, so I just thought, everyone's going to come out and drink it all up before we get to it.
Yeah, we have a private stash of bottles, thanks to the Rare Barrel guys.
They did bring us some bottles. It's funny, they came in, Alex came in to deliver the beer last week, and he brought us a case to have for ourselves for the show, so we can drink it and talk about it. And I
haven't seen those bottles yet.
I haven't either. That's why I laughed.
He kind of asked me.
Scott's got those under control. Don't worry.
They're not in my refrigerator at home. Don't worry. They're in the walk-in here. And Alex was worried. He said, "Do you think that's enough beer?" the case, a case of tall bottles. And I was like, no, definitely not. And so he brought us more. But what's I think even more fun is that he said to me, I'm delivering it today because they don't really distribute. We're actually really lucky to have their beer here at the Hop Grenade. It's hard to get. They don't make very much of it. It takes a while to get to serving ready.
It's rare.
It's rare. So he says, I'm delivering it early. Because we're ready to party. I'm going to take Bart on Monday. So they're ready to have a good time with us tonight.
Nice.
So we got the couple cases that we can share with our listeners here, well, virtually,
right,
over the internet, and while we drink it. And then we've got a couple kegs going on tap for you here at the Hop Grenade tonight. So you're the lucky ones. You get to taste it. And we got 2 different ones. I don't even know what they are yet. I'm going to wait for them to tell me.
I know Egregious is on.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to the Rare Barrel guys about the names of their beers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a huge fan.
There's a good backstory for that one.
And who names them.
Justin loves the names of their beer.
Because I'm pretty sure that one of them just sits down in the brewery and starts reading War and Peace. And for whatever the other one, whatever sentence the other one hears, that's the name of the next beer. Because they're that long. Like a chapter long.
Well, I want to know what's on the whiteboard of the rejects.
The ones that they don't choose.
The names that almost became names.
Beardy, that's a good question. We're going to have to hear some rejected names from the Rare Barrel guys today. That's a good point.
Phantasmic.
They've got to be bad, right? They've got to be terrible.
Confoundants.
Yeah. Golden Unicorn Vomit.
No, see, that's a winner.
That one made it to the... Yeah. You guys can have that one.
That's my collab beer I'm doing with him.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be talking to the Rare Barrel guys tonight. Maybe we'll meet some of the Hop Grenade staff tonight. We did that on the last show. One of the cool things is we have a server for our beer, and mostly...
Do I push a button here? What do I do?
Well, yeah, you do that and it shocks somebody out there. Yeah, it's like all the servers have to wear a shock collar. I don't know if you noticed that thing. It's not for decoration.
I see.
That's the shock collar.
I thought it was a punk look there.
For beer.
It lights up.
Yeah, they weren't very happy about it, but I feel like they're going to get used to it.
They might learn to like it.
You go numb after a while. Aquila is helping us out tonight, and she's a great server here at the Hop Grenade. We're happy to have her on board. Our team's been pretty awesome. We had our soft opening over the weekend, where we invited friends and family. And we didn't invite very many people because I think I can speak for all of us when I say we were terrified of not being ready and it kind of being a mess. So people kind of slowly trickled in, and then before you know it, we were full. And I think that things went great. We had a great opening weekend. A lot of support from the local community, a lot of support from our friends and our fans, and our staff did great.
Yeah, they looked like they knew what they were doing.
So those, Tasty, were some of the best comments I got. Some people said to me, for one, about the space, they said it kind of already feels like you've been here forever. Yeah. So comfortable. And then about our staff, people said, if they were nervous, no one could tell. And I feel like it seemed like they had been serving at the Hop Grenade forever. Right. So everyone was very calm and collected and cool. So I said, well, that's good, because in the back we were freaking out.
Well, they do look like a well-oiled machine out there. It's just everybody's getting along, everybody's doing something. And
yeah, they're great. Good beer people.
Yeah.
So that's fun. It was not without its disasters. It's opening day. We're here Friday night training, trying to get ready for our open on Saturday, and we don't even know how to use the point-of-sale system, the whole computer that you enter. So we're ready to go through our training, and every 2 minutes the computer blows up, essentially. So we didn't get through training. So now here we are. It's now Saturday. We've really done no POS training, and we're supposed to open that night. So we finally figure that out. We get the POS working. We do like 10 minutes of training with everybody, and I say, hey, why don't you guys pour a couple of beers? Let's see how the beer's doing. I had set all the beer up, and all the beer's warm. It's like an hour and a half before open, and all the beers are tasting warm. I go back and look at the cold box, and it's at 50 degrees.
Oh, man.
So the cold box failed 2 hours before we're supposed to start service.
It had been on for, 2
days
weeks before that, or a long time. And it just crapped out on Saturday at 4:30.
And for no reason. The tech ended up coming out. By the time he got here, it was working again. But it took a couple hours for the beer to get back up to temperature. For no reason other than I have the worst, just bad karma, maybe. I must have done something.
Of course you did.
And one of our other refrigerators blew up, which was blowing up other circuits. So we had a whole... we have beer to go here. So our glass door refrigerators, one of them just died. All things that happen on opening day. So we're in kind of Brewing Network style. I felt like we were in Pacheco again. We were running extension cords into the bathroom to plug in refrigerators. I've got Scott like blowing into the refrigerator to get it cold.
Like an old Nintendo game. Try and blow different hot air, cold air, get it to work.
What a mess. Everyone told me that everything will break on opening day, but I thought, well, I mean, sure, it'll break like leading up to it, and then you fix it. No, everything works perfectly until 2 hours before you open.
How many glasses did you break?
I don't think
opening weekend.
I don't want to jinx us, but I don't think we've broken a glass yet.
Aren't you supposed to?
I didn't hear anything.
Are we? Is it bad luck?
I thought you're supposed to have something break on opening.
Oh shit!
I think you're thinking of a Jewish wedding where you step on the glass when they pronounce them husband and wife.
Yeah,
or when they say break a leg.
Yeah. You christen a boat. This isn't a boat, Beardy.
Could be.
Yeah. Well,
he can't.
Scott's Jewish.
But now he's got me nervous, like we jinxed ourselves, and we've got years of bad luck ahead of us.
So you make a good point. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Somebody break a glass out there.
Not everybody.
Yeah, Doc's rack is going to fall off the ceiling there, and
just throw it right on the floor. I don't care.
Just one, not all of them.
This is when my staff's really going to start to hate me.
Head. So does that count?
There are children out there. What fell on your child's head?
Glass of beer.
It did?
Oh, so we christened her.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fine.
So she'll have good luck.
An entire glass of beer fell on her head?
No. It was like a splash.
Oh, she's fine.
She cried.
Not like worse things have happened to her at your house.
She cried because somebody spilled the beer?
Yeah.
Or spilled it on her? Or just that it spilled beer?
Yes.
Well, it's been an exciting opening, and somehow when 6 o'clock rolled around on Saturday, everything actually started working perfectly. So I guess that's all you can ask for. I'm excited to talk to the Rare Barrel guys about their opening, because I had met them when we were still in the throes of construction, and we got to share stories about how sucky that is. And even here in Concord, everybody walking by, the story is, oh, you're finally open.
Yeah,
finally.
Right?
Finally.
A lot of passive aggression.
Oh, I've been watching, finally.
So they're different than the Martians?
Yeah, they're not crazy. They're just opinionated.
So maybe we need a new name for them.
For the Concordians?
Yes.
The difference here is that the Martians never heard me calling them Martians because it wasn't a public show.
Yeah.
But if I start making fun of the Concordians, they're going to be right outside that window. I'm going to be stuck in here.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean I won't do it, though. We should come up with a name for them. JP, you've been in Concord for a while.
I have been in Concord for
Are
a
there
while.
any slang terms already for the people of Concord?
Illegals. Mostly.
Undocumented. Undocumented.
Yes, thank you.
That's all like kind of north of Detroit Avenue, that whole area in between Willow Pass and Detroit.
I see.
Yeah.
I sense a Twitter game coming.
Yeah, name the Concordians. Actually, the people have been very nice to us coming in. It's just a couple. Finally. Whatever. You go build a bar. See what happens to you.
You sure you don't want to take a few more weeks?
I stopped posting things on like the Hop Grenade Facebook page, like pictures and stuff, because instead of people, like, oh, this is great, it's just started to turn into that. Oh, we'll come to your opening in 2016.
There was a whole,
and it's from people in New Hampshire. They can't even come.
They're not even here.
Even come.
Yeah,
they're probably walking, and that's when they'll get here.
Right.
Everybody can do it better. That's the fun part about things like this. Everybody, they come by. A guy comes in on our opening day, and he goes, "There's another bar right around the corner from us. It's like a sports bar, pretty much right on the same square." And he goes, "You're not going to be able to compete with them. You don't have enough TVs. You guys are going to be empty.
Wow.
You don't have enough televisions.
We have 3 big screens.
How are you going to compete with that? You don't have. He's got like I think
moderate.
He has like 37 TVs, and it's hard to explain to people that we're not,
not really a sports bar.
Yeah, we're not even a regular bar. We're a
beer bar.
We're here for beer. We're here for craft beer and craft beer education. So we put TVs up, for our beer menus. And in the beginning of the concept, we talked about it as a team. We were like, we don't want TV at all. We don't want television there. But we had to kind of backtrack on that a little bit, because if there's a Giants game on, or the Super Bowl, or the playoffs, we can't have like everybody next door and we're empty. So we had to cater a little bit. So most of the time our TVs are menus. But if there's a Giants game, A's game, Sharks game, playoff game, big game, World Series game, things like that, we'll switch 2 of our TVs over to sports, and the other one stays the menu.
Was the World
that's our
Cup
plan.
on yesterday?
The World Cup was on.
Yes.
Nobody was here to watch it, though.
It was real
Or
boring.
Armageddon.
It was. And Armageddon?
Yes.
The movie.
Not the movie. Well, maybe.
Yeah, whenever Armageddon is on, we will also turn our... Yeah, I mean, everyone loves a great Ben Affleck film.
Absolutely.
So
I haven't seen a great Ben Affleck. The World Cup was boring.
So Giants
really
games,
exciting.
A's games,
That's
Sharks
crazy.
games, World Series, and Ben Affleck films. That's the only time that we'll turn the televisions on. The rest of the time, it will be our menu, our digital poor menu.
SpongeBob in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's kind of amazing is they had a pool in the forum of the opening date for this place.
Oh, yeah?
And
who won?
Spider Wrangler to the day. Nailed
Really?
it, July 14. And they started this months ago. So it occurred to me, not only does that guy know the past, like
Yeah.
if I ask him for a timestamp, he's on it. He knows everything that ever occurred.
He's
he
a good
also
listener.
knows the future.
He knows the future.
He has all of the timestamps.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
He's a great... he also has a tramp stamp. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, is it Hot Grenade Tramp Stamp?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's
So
sexy.
When his wife is behind him, does she like looking at it? Yeah.
Bevo thinks it's hot. Yeah.
I have a question from the chat for you, Justin.
Okay.
How many flushes have you ignored so far into this broadcast?
Into this one, so I can't hear them when we're broadcasting because the headphones are on. I hear them all day long when I'm working in here. And Bevo, you've
I
seen.
can attest to it. You can hear them.
And I try to ignore them. I'm trying to do that, but it doesn't work. I implode just a little bit. I die a little bit inside
Each time.
I woke up last week before we opened, furious about this studio. I was furious. I hadn't gotten to this point in a long time. I just woke up furious. I asked for two things here. I asked for climate control and for it to be soundproof. It's noisy and hot. I got the opposite. And I just woke up. I was so pissed off. I was like, I've spent thousands of dollars on I actually haven't even gotten the bill yet, so I don't know how many thousands of dollars on the studio. And in some ways, it's no better than my $500 studio in a garage in Pacheco. And that's how I woke up feeling. I just felt like it was a disaster.
We had more room in the garage.
And we had more room! Yeah. So I've come to my senses a little bit. It's not quite that bad. The sound is good for the radio. Like, I think that the audio that the listeners hear is fine. It's just what I hear is not as good. It's the same as the garage. But the heat, it's going to be warm. I know you guys feel like it's okay in here now, but give it an hour. Mm-hmm. So we have to put in a whole new, air conditioning unit to get our own thing.
I thought there was a new air conditioning unit.
Yeah, there's two of them.
But it also controls the outside. So for us to be comfortable, we would freeze the bar. But worse than that, when the bar needs to be warm in the winter, and we still need air conditioning in here, that's where it gets ugly. Yep. So they're putting in a whole new thing. Yeah. Unit. So everybody's getting a pay cut.
Oh, shit.
So that we can do the...
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I'm going to give you guys negative 100.
Oh, wait. Beaver gets paid now. So that actually means something.
It means something to her.
Beaver actually cares.
So, wait a minute.
Oh, that's true. I have to stop threatening Bevo with pay cuts because it means something.
It actually means...
I forgot about that.
So are we going to lose half our material for the opening segment now? We can't make no pay jokes? Look at Doc's. He doesn't know what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got an exciting show for you today. We got the Rare Barrel in here, as I've told you, and we're going to taste some great beer. If you've got sour beer questions, get them ready. Bevo's in the chat room. Just hit the chat button on the homepage, and she'll send her questions, your questions over to me. We'll make sure that we get them asked. And I'm excited. All about sour beers. They also have a pretty unique model, you're going to find out. They don't actually have a brewery, per se. So we'll find out how that works. How it is that they end up with words.
I just found out about that.
Oh, yeah. Everyone kind of thinks they have. I hope I'm not telling secrets, but I don't think it's secrets. Yeah, they don't have a brewery. They have a very unique and I think clever model. I think it's a smart way to do business, and we're going to find out about that. Especially if all you care about is doing sour beers.
Seems to work for them.
Yeah, that's working well. They can't keep a drop of beer in that place. You went down there for the first time the other day,
Yeah, it was good.
It's a good spot. All right, just let me let you know a couple ways you can support the show out there in listener land. You can hit the Amazon link on our homepage and do your Amazon shopping as normal, and we get a little piece of the action. Do we have an Amazon product of the week?
Yes, I love this one. I can't believe someone got it. The Coca-Cola soda can diversion stash safe. You guys ever seen these? The Coke cans, the top unscrews, and you can put money or whatever in there?
No, never.
Money, yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's a camouflage piggy bank.
They call it a stash can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hide your valuables in plain sight. Just unscrew the top and reveal the hidden compartment, weighted to feel full. I remember seeing these things in summer camp when I was like 12 years old.
Wow.
And the kids would have them, as people are still buying them.
Clearly, they
it.
still work.
They still work well. Until your kid wants the 5-cent redemption fee and throws whatever's inside.
There goes your stash.
He's like, I'm just going to go get an ice cream.
Right.
And, all of a sudden, $500 of your hard-earned savings is gone. That's a good point.
What could they have possibly bought it for?
I don't
What
know.
are they putting in there? And then what do? You put it in the fridge?
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's for the other Coke. That's what it's for.
Well, thanks for buying it. Yeah, you know, you weirdo.
We appreciate the support. All right, also, you can subscribe and join the BN Army. Just click the donate button on the homepage, and all you recurring donors are entered into the More Beer monthly donation giveaway, which is a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to More Beer. And we draw a name each and every month. You will get an email directly from us if your name was drawn. Of course, More Beer is the sponsor of this and every session that we do, thanks to the folks over at morebeer.com, and they're right here in Concord as well, on the other side of Detroit.
On the other side of Detroit.
Yeah.
On the good side. Yeah.
The legal side.
I'd say. All right. Get all this and more over on Twitter and Facebook. Do we have a Twitter game today, JP?
Yes, we do.
All right. Twitter game is brought to you today by the good folks over at Adventures in Homebrewing. Go check them out. They've been a supporter of this show for a good amount of time, and we love them for it. You should too. Adventures in Homebrewing. What's our Twitter game?
Well, I was checking out some beer news today, and there's a brewery or a campsite, it was kind of unclear, in South America that's using drones to deliver pints of beer individually to individual people. And it's kind of a new thing that they're doing. And so it seems like everyone has drones these days. The government uses them for crowd surveillance. Private citizens try to get some side boob images from people far away. Even breweries are delivering beer. There's that one in Michigan or whatever. So if the BN had a drone, what would we use it for?
Oh, I think we'd use it to get beer from the bar into the studio, so we would never have to leave. Of course, we have.
You call your employees drones?
Yeah, Akila's actually a drone. She's not a real person at all. She's a robot drone. All right. Twitter Games brought to you today by Adventures in Homebrewing. Send us in your answers, and JP will send you a prize. I got asked by one of our listeners came into our soft opening.
Peter.
Pete the Dink.
Yeah.
He asked me, where's my Twitter prize? And I said, well, what is your prize? And he said, my Twitter prize. I said, I know I heard you the first time. What are you looking for?
Right.
He didn't know.
No, he doesn't know.
And
he has no idea what he's
and
doing.
I said, you have to ask JP.
Well, see, I told him he has to ask you because we don't have anything to give him. We don't have any swag.
When did he win? On a show from here?
Actually, it was the last show. I don't think he actually won. He thinks he won for naming the Hop Grenade, or the studio, whatever we're doing.
Oh, right,
now.
yeah.
But I think you didn't like any of them, and you decided to hold over the winner for another day.
Oh, I did?
So he thinks that's that Manteca heat or the Modesto heat just fries his little brain. But anyway, regardless, we don't have any prizes to give out.
I see. Okay, well.
So I don't know what to do about that.
Well, we'll figure it out. We still have some merch around from NHC, so maybe we'll have to work with Bevo to get Peter a prize. Well, I guess he doesn't get a prize.
He doesn't get shit.
All right, we're going to give away a BN Army T-shirt tonight for the Twitter game.
Give him a bottle of $7.50 of that Rare Barrel beer.
There we go. Actually, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's
why would
a T-shirt will be fine.
Yeah.
Tasty. What's wrong with you?
It will suffice.
Yeah.
Okay, looks we have more T-shirts than we have beer.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with you, Tasty.
What am I thinking?
I don't know what's happened to you.
Take that out of my stash.
Now, Tasty, you were here for the soft opening.
Yes, I came twice.
How are you liking the hot?
Yeah, you did.
Two different days.
Wow, good for you.
It's been a long time since that's
Wow.
Busy
And
weekend.
She came 4 times.
What an awesome place we've created.
Yes.
Everybody comes.
Whatever floats your boat, Tasty.
So we're going down the
You just
beer list.
Talk to yourself in the third person. You're losing your goddamn mind.
I must be.
Yeah. We were looking over the beer list before ordering, and Kevin asked me, "Hey, should we order this this Faction Tasty Cal Common?" And I was like, "Kevin, why are you even asking me? Of course we should order a tasty beer and have it on tap." So we had your Cal Common collaboration on tap all weekend.
Yeah, I had the distributor hold some back for you guys.
Nice.
Needed it, so.
People were ordering a bunch of it.
Yeah, I'm drinking it right now. It's pretty good.
That's weird.
I'm drinking the Pale 31.
Why would you do that? Yes. Oh.
Firestone Pale 31. It's been my go-to beer
that's
for
a
a
great
couple
beer.
years now, and we have it on tap here. I kept trying to order another beer all weekend, and every time, I'd spend 5 minutes looking at the board, and then I'd go, Pale 31, please. I'm such a creature of habit. I can't,
No, that's the
I get
ADD talking.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's just that I can't decide?
You can't focus. You can't decide on this because you get Just give me something.
Oh, I gotta get back on your meds, Doc. I mean meds. All right. Well, why don't we do this? I think it's time for us to take a quick break.
Before we do, can I play a quick clip that's very appropriate for this show? This came from April 12th, 2009, when you guys were talking to Kelly Ryan of Thornbridge Brewing in the UK.
Yeah.
If I remember right, my producer tells me that you actually live right up above a pub, don't you?
That's right, yeah. It's sort of straight below me as I'm speaking.
Oh, that's points right there.
Pub kitchen.
That's great.
You can run downstairs if you have to.
Brewing by day and pub stuff by night, pretty much. So it's
pretty fantastic.
Keeps me busy.
It's really a goal of mine, I will say, that the Brewing Network one day, the studio is either above a brewery or a pub or something, like so that we're connected officially and logistically, of course, to a pub or a brewery.
Instead of being parallel to a brewery, because you got one outside in the backyard.
Yeah, but Chad can't keep up with us anymore. His fermenter isn't big enough. He's try as he does. We still drink him out of house and home. So one day we'll be.
Yeah, that would probably be okay for like a week, and then you'd realize, hey, we're not doing any shows right now.
Hey, I forgot I have a job to do.
Well, there you go. A scant 5 years later, and the Brewing Network is attached to a pub.
That was in 2009.
Yes,
see.
April. Yep.
So you know the future too.
Turns out I have vision. I do believe in Sully though. He's probably right. I'm going to hate it here after a week.
We'll see if there's going to be a show next week.
Well, he was at least right for a while. We weren't doing shows for like a month and a half.
Yeah, because there was other stuff. Well, that's not true at all. Now you sound like a listener. We haven't missed any episodes. We just got spread out and moved around, but the same amount of shows have been done.
Yeah. I'm pulling my donation.
You and everybody else. All right. Well, now that we've struck it rich, I'm sure everybody's pulling their...
My heart is full.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're just going to get right to it. We'll get the guys from the Rare Barrel in here in the studio. We can talk to them about the great beer that we have on tap. I think there's already some out there, so let's go get it. We've got Jay Goodwin and Alex Wallace here from the Rare Barrel coming in the studio in just a second. Hang in there. It's The Session, and we'll be right back.
Listening to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
As a brewer, you already don't settle for second best. You want great tasting beer and you want great equipment to make it with. So don't settle for the second best grain mill. You want a Monster Mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Monster Mills are tough, come in 2 and 3 roller designs, and are made right here in the USA from superior materials for longer lasting performance. Pick the mill that's right for you at monsterbrewinghardware.com and take Bevo's advice.
Trust me, it's always better to have a bigger tool than you think you need.
Monster Mills have the best warranty in the business. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit monsterbrewinghardware.com now and check out all the mills and mill accessories. Don't settle for second best. Get a Monster Mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Have you ever dreamed of attending the World Brewing Academy? This year, thanks to Lallemand and Danstar, one lucky brewer will make that dream a reality for free. Lallemand and Danstar invite you to enter the Beer School 2015 contest. One lucky grand prize winner will receive fully paid tuition to the 2015 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth almost $4,000. From now until December 13th, 2014, every Danstar yeast packet you use is your ticket to enter. Visit danstaryeast.com for the details and to print your official entry form. There's no limit on the number of times you can enter, so get brewing with Danstar and get your entries in to the Danstar 2015 Beer School Contest. Whether you want to build your home brewing skills or build a career as a professional brewer, this course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Enter at danstaryeast.com and get the dry yeast advantage with Danstar and Lallemand Premium Brewing Yeast, and enter to win.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wort aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy, the Williams way.
Tuned into this session
because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
All right, welcome back to the program. Now we're starting to have some fun here at the Hop Grenade. We're almost done with setting things up, and now it's feeling good out there. People are drinking, excited about the Rare Barrel. I'm sure it's filling up, and that keg. Should we start guessing how long it takes for the first keg of Rare Barrel to kick during the segment here? I'm thinking that we're done with at least one by 8 o'clock.
You really think that there's enough, there's not too many amateurs out there that are not going to know what it is, or you think there's knowledgeable folks out there that are just going to kick it right away?
I can't believe that you just called our very knowledgeable beer patrons amateurs. Look at those people out there. They're professionals. They're gonna finish at least one of yours by 8 o'clock.
I'm just trying to get them to prove me wrong. It's reverse psychology.
Right.
Very nice. Someone went to a great college.
That's right. All right. So I want to point out. Well, first of all, we've got Jay and Alex in the studio. Welcome to the studio, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So speaking of kegs running out, and I want you guys to think about this. Not that you need help getting rid of beer, but in terms of selling beer, we have this digital pour system, which is it's a digital menu board. And one of the fun things about it is it shows you when the kegs are about to kick, they start flashing red. So on our first night, a bunch of kegs start flashing red, which I noticed tends to cause a mad scramble for people to order more beer, right? And you can hear people talking oh, you better try the almanac before it goes out. It's turning red. And I'm thinking, this is kind of fucking sweet. We're selling more beer now all of a sudden just because the thing's flashing red. So I'm thinking there needs to be a manual setting for this thing to just start flashing kegs red when we need them to move, which I know is sort of duping you people that were drinking beer, and I apologize. But from
that will never happen.
But from my bank account's perspective, I'm thinking this is pretty rad. Let's start flashing beers red. Well, it turns out our system there was a glitch, and it was registering 7 beers for every 1 beer that we ordered.
It was set to dog pours.
So my partner Marty, Scott's dad, calls us the next day after our soft opening, and he goes, so you guys sold 1,800 beers last night? And I was like, shit, I hope so. That's incredible.
Good night.
No, we didn't. So now there's only a couple beers flashing red up there, and it's accurate. So now they really are about to sell out, guys, if you see it flashing red. So when that Rare Barrel keg starts flashing red, start ordering.
You're really putting the pressure on us right now.
You can start now. You can order it now.
Yeah, just go ahead. What do we have on tap, guys?
We brought 3 beers.
Okay.
We have Grainsta's Paradise, which is our sour saison with grains of paradise, chamomile, and coriander. We also have Egregious, which is our dry hopped golden sour.
Okay.
And then the last one is Happy Place, which is our golden sour with green tea and lemon peel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you purposely not bring me any of your fucked up beers because you knew I'd make fun of you for it?
Yeah, where's the ensorcelled?
Those are all good names.
Yeah, we have bottles.
Okay, so the bottles today are going to have weird...
we're going to talk about that later.
Okay, perfect.
It reminds me, we went down to the brewery's 6th anniversary and poured some beer down there.
Yeah.
And we had 2 beers going at once, and we had Consigliere pouring next to Egregious.
Nice.
And after about 2 minutes of pouring beer, people would be like, yeah, I'll just have that one. I'll have that one. Consigli, Egregi.
Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a few hours of drinking, too.
Even worse.
Gets tough. Yeah.
Well, when you put it to me that way, that's kind of fun. I think I'd actually do the same thing. If you can start messing with people so that they can't even say the name, or you can tell how lazy they are, they don't even want to try, i.e. me, that's kind of fun. Now I'm starting to see why you come up with messed up names.
Hey, what do you guys want us to start with on the bottles here?
Ooh, on the bottles. Yeah. Why don't we start with Ensorcelled?
There it is, Justin.
Right there.
Yeah, so...
What is in... Okay, first the name, and then we'll talk to beer. What the fuck is ensorcelled?
Ensorcelled is a commonly used word.
Oh, it is?
Very common.
In some circles, it is a very...
What year and what
circle.
continent?
Around the plague in Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It means enchanted.
Okay.
And I hear you don't like this name at all, Justin.
Well,
so
it makes me feel like, are you guys like D&D guys? Like, do you still play like in the brewery every Wednesday night? Is it like D&D night?
There's a brief Magic the Gathering phase. After that,
that had been the only time I'd heard Ensorcelled before. Was Norwegian black metal band Emperor had a song with Ensorcelled in the title. Otherwise, I'd never heard the word in my life.
How many times do I have to say that Nate knows everything? He knows something about everything, and there
I
you
didn't
go.
know what it meant. I just had heard the word before.
So it means enchanted. Okay. Well, enchanted would have just been a little sissy-like. So I prefer... Ensorcelled is definitely better than that. What'd you do? Just get out of... Like, you thought about enchanted and you just got out of thesaurus?
So it's actually even nerdier than D&D. I'm a big fan of the hit TV show The West Wing.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Great
Show, but I don't remember this from that. Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin uses it like once.
Okay.
I'd never heard it before.
And you were like, I'm taking it.
And I was like, I love Sorkin.
I'm taking it.
It's not, and it's also not the only beer named after a Sorkin.
Right. Okay. So you're a big Aaron Sorkin fan then?
Love Sorkin.
Do you have a word count of every word said on the West Wing? Is that what?
I have a toilet paper Aaron Sorkin word of the day.
That's
Wait,
kind of
I can't
amazing.
tell if he's serious or joking.
I think he's serious on this one.
Don't mess with Sorkin.
I'm sorry, I won't.
So, did you watch The West Wing like when it was on air?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I just found out about it like 2 years ago. I started watching it.
Oh.
So like well after it was over.
So where are you at?
I finished it finally.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of marathoned it. It's one of those marathon ones when you get it on the Netflix. It's a great show. What do you like about that show?
It's fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has names like Ensorcelled.
It's got Ensorcelled. Great ensemble cast.
Rob Lowe. Okay.
Lots of awards.
Yeah. Do you name all the beers?
It's kind of a team effort, I'd say. We kind of just pool random, obscure references to TV shows, music, movies that we like.
Okay.
And our idea behind the names is kind of like we'd like one person in 100 to understand what the name means.
I see.
And when that person comes in, they're like all about it because they understand it.
They know. They literally just come skipping in the door straight to you two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of our style.
All right.
We do have unusual names. We apologize for that.
You shouldn't apologize for it. It gives me lots of material.
I don't think you do apologize.
I don't.
I'm calling you out on that one.
I'm trying to be a gracious guest. But really,
You'll get tired of that in a half hour.
Someone told me that there was the Brewing Network beer of the year, and the discussion turned towards Ensorcel versus our friends at Society.
Yeah.
And we were eliminated basically by you, just because we had a stupid name.
I think that rumor is pretty true. It's pretty accurate.
They rubbed in our face pretty hard.
Oh, they
so
did.
Thank you for that.
But you sort of could have rubbed it back in their face by saying like, "Oh, good, so you got an award because you have a good name. We had a good beer."
Or at least you can pronounce our brewery name.
What? Yeah. What is it? Society.
Society. Society.
Yeah, I like
I think
the seat.
I think it's society.
But go easy because they're all listening right now.
They are. They've
Good.
been talking about you guys coming in and ruining the studio before they get to come in here. So.
Yeah, sorry, it's already
And they
happened.
ruined the studio.
Yeah.
You truly may have won beer of the year if you didn't come up with stupid beer names. It might have happened.
Well, just for you, we'll keep coming up with stupid beer names.
I really hope you do. Actually.
There's always next year.
This beer is incredible. Tell us about what Ensorcelled is. It's such a great sour beer.
Yeah, so Ensorcelled is a blend of two different beers. It's a assertively sour red beer with Brett and Lacto, and then also a 100% Brettanomyces black beer. We basically sat down at a blending table with a lot of our first releases and just kind of sussed it all out. So we blended different beers together, tried them with different fruits, different spices, and we basically set out to let the flavors decide what beer we blended. So, a lot of people set out and they're going to make a blonde raspberry sour, and that's what they're going to make from day one when they brew it. We don't really do that. We brew the beer, we test out an experiment, and then we sit down with a bunch of different beers, try to blend them together, try to use different secondary ingredients to create something unique, but we let the flavors decide. We don't decide in a predetermined way. So this beer was made at the blending table.
Okay.
Two different beers blended together. We thought it was great. And then we thought, okay, well, let's see if there's any spices or fruits that we can add to it to make it even better. And then we went around the table. We had the raspberries, and it just popped like crazy.
Okay.
So we added raspberries to the barrel. And then a few weeks later, we were just like, oh, man, this turned out really good.
Yeah.
We're super proud of this beer.
Who's at this table you speak of? Is it just the two of you? Do you have more people who give input on these blends?
Yeah, a lot of times it'll be the co-founders, Sir Alex and I, and also my dad.
You should call him Sir Alex.
I thought that's what he said.
Tall Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir Alex.
Sir Alex.
He requires that Jay call him Sir Alex.
He might actually be knighted. I don't know his history.
I usually just require that in private, but
but since we're here,
Jay's so
He
used to
wouldn't
it.
say anything about that.
your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then a lot of other times, we'll have all of our employees. So
Okay.
actually, a couple of them are here tonight. Matt Foster, our cellarman, sitting
Nice.
on the couch right outside, and Dylan
Great.
Ryan, our lead bartender. They'll come in and help us out and blend beers together. I mean, we want all palates on deck.
Yeah.
When we're blending our beers. So
I like this idea. When you first said it, we kind of let the beer do the talking. We let the beer. It sounded a bit strange, but it really makes sense. Like if you start out with we're gonna, this is how it's gonna be. This is how we're gonna make it. Sometimes you might end up trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Like you can't force it that way, but maybe people feel like they have to because that's what they set out to brew. And if it's not that, well, damn it, it's going to be when I'm done with it. But really, the way you talk about it kind of makes sense. Let's just see what it tastes like and go from there.
Yeah, and it's something unique to our situation, being an all-sour brewery.
Yeah.
All of our beer goes into barrels, so it kind of splinters a batch into a bunch of different barrels.
Yeah.
And we can kind of Humpty Dumpty it back together however we want.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries can't do that. It's just they're brewing their IPA into their fermenter. Once it's done, it goes into the bright tank, then it goes into kegs and bottles. And that's
Right,
it.
right.
There's not this advantage of long-term aging and blending with other, you don't have tons of tanks with tons of different IPAs, and you can kind of blend it exactly the way you want.
Yeah.
We get to do that. So there's a lot of disadvantages of being an all-sour brewery, but that's definitely one of the
advantages. And it's a unique situation. I've talked about this before, that I learned this at the Cantillon Brewery that I love so much, and where Jean said to me that he hardly even calls himself a brewer. Basically what he says is that my art is not brewing beer. My art is blending beer. And when he samples, I got to sample some of these unblended, just like pure lambic beers, and he's not too happy with them. I wasn't too happy with them, and he was showing me they're not the beer that I really want to be producing until I blend them together. So it is a unique advantage that you have to be able to do this.
Yeah, and we do somewhat of the same process. So, we'll brew our wort offsite at other breweries around the Bay Area, and then bring it back to our place for primary fermentation, secondary barrel aging, and then packaging after that.
Okay. Let's talk about that if we can stop there for 1 second, because that's a unique thing. So you guys literally don't have a brewery, a brew system on site.
We're licensed as a brewery, but we don't have a brew house.
Okay. And was that a financial decision, or was it part of the model because you thought that you don't really need a brew house?
So it was part of the model, but it became almost like our financial savior, because being an all-sour brewery, going from our first brew day to the time we actually released our first beer, huge lag time. So a lot of breweries would go out of business if you can't sell beer for 7, 8, 9 months.
Right.
So for us, that really helped not having to put that initial cost out there. But it's also advantageous to do it this way, because instead of having a 10-barrel system, a 15-barrel system that we're brewing on constantly, and then it sits dormant for the rest of the week or month, we're just doing it once every couple of weeks, and we can fill up all of our barrels, fill up our larger size tanks, and it's just a lot more efficient. And we can also work with other breweries that are going to be basically, they have a system size that we want to work with, but they're not operating on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. So we're coming in and trying to help them out too, because we're paying to use their system to brew our recipes, and then so we're helping them to pay off their initial cost, their brew house, but we don't have to buy one, and then it's taking up space, valuable space, in an all barrel aging facility, and doesn't take up money, and it's not sitting dormant, because we're not brewing any flagships. We're brewing batches of sour beer.
Right. The genius behind that almost makes me want to take back the comments about your stupid beer names. Because that's I feel like that's almost. I mean, I do feel a brewery is very expensive, and you're also tied into it, like you're saying, in that sense. But this, you can just get great wort. And again, from what I know about sour beer, it's not that the wort doesn't matter. It certainly does. But not as much as like if you're carrying an IPA to fruition all the way to the end. You have, I assume you give these breweries parameters. Do you give them the recipe for the wort that you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we try to, and someone in the room knows all about that.
Are we allowed to say any of the people that brew it for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Budweiser.
Yeah. They make a delicious sour beer.
Yes, absolutely. So Heretic Brewing Company does, in fact, Beardy himself here makes some of your wort.
There he is. Yeah.
I do. Mm-hmm. Rumors are true.
He hasn't messed a batch up for you yet?
Define messed up.
Not that they couldn't fix.
Well, a couple of them went sour, so there's that.
That's
we
bad.
prefer they all did, but we're okay with it.
How does wort get? So their brewery is in Fairfield, right? And is it Fairfield? Vacaville?
Yes, Fairfield.
Thank you. Fairfield, and you guys are in Berkeley, not too far away, but it's not like you're just running a hose to a fermenter. So how do you get the beer from point A to point B in a sanitary way? And
yeah, so what I'll do is I'll drive over to Heretic either sometime in the morning and bring our specialty malt in a box truck with also a couple of stainless steel tanks that we've sanitized and purged with carbon dioxide.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of spend the day hanging out with Warren and Chris at Heretic, watching them do all the hard work.
So you're there for the brew day. It's not like you show up at the end and say, give me some wort.
Yeah.
You go check it out.
I mean, they're doing all of the hard work, so let me just make that clear. But
is this
and they do a great job.
Is this like a specialty, especially manufactured box truck or are you literally just like strapping tanks into a normal box truck?
It's in a box truck, and we just got one that could fit 2 of these tanks. It's actually a process that we used a lot when I was at the brewery in Orange County.
Okay.
So our tanks got full, and we started to brew off-site our sour beers, and we do primary fermentation in oak barrels, and then rack into a secondary into slightly smaller oak barrels. And that was a way for us to continue brewing the sour beers that we loved, but it wouldn't stop production on the main beers.
Okay.
Why do you purge them with CO2 if it's before fermentation?
Right. So we basically want, in transit, we want to limit any of the anaerobic bacteria that may cause a contamination on the way back. Like I said, we clean, we sanitize, and that's probably good enough. We haven't had any cross-contaminations yet, but it's just one extra step along the way.
Do you feel like Beardy's maybe not the best person to be handling your wort if you want it to stay clean?
Well, he's a pretty clean-cut guy. It's just the beard kind of throws you off.
Well, he wears the net on that beard, right? when he's brewing?
Who's Annette?
I don't think he does. Yeah.
She's a real nice lady.
He braids it and ties it around his head.
Have you ever had any contamination issue? I'm not talking about from Heretic, but just in transit and.
But that's what you would be talking about,
right? Yeah. But
the implication is there
because actually this is sort of a two-part question. How long is it before the wort gets pitched and have an active? Well, it's not pitched at all, is it? Actually, you're just waiting for wild fermentation to start.
No, we do pitch actually.
You do.
So we bring it back. It can range. We have breweries we work with that are within 20 minutes of us. Some are 45 minutes. We do it an hour before.
Okay.
And then there's the X factor of traffic.
Yeah.
You can get stuck in traffic on a brew day. Think about that.
Does that freak you out? Yeah, you're the only brewer who gets stuck in traffic on brew day.
Right. Yeah, it's bad enough getting a stuck mash, but getting stuck in traffic is a whole other thing.
Start thinking about a police escort.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I can hear you now. There's a fatal accident on 680, and you're like, oh, fuck. That jerk. I got wort going sour.
I hope he suffered before he died.
You could do a spontaneous ferment, picking up everything that's in between Fairfield and Berkeley.
We thought about it.
Yeah, we've actually joked about it with
just leave it open.
Some people at the brewery about doing a collaboration down there where we go and brew wort down at the brewery. Drive up I-5 with the back of our truck open.
Wow.
Let all that wild yeast.
Or maybe
bacteria
101 and skip Harris Ranch.
Yeah, could we not do I-5?
Closing up at Harris Ranch.
Well, coming the other way, you're coming through Martinez.
That's true. Can we pick the right corridor? You're really going to have to carefully plan the brewery for this one.
Yeah,
we'd find that corridor.
There'll be a top where we close it for certain sections.
See, just like a drawstring inside the cab of the truck where you're able to just pull it shut.
Right.
Yeah. So have you had any issues in transport where you got there and you thought, oh man, this didn't work out right?
Not in transport. The barrels we've had to dump so far have been either from a bad barrel or just poor management of the cellar. So we'll, allow a little too much oxygen in there or something, or we just happen to put beer in a barrel that there's some undetectable thing in there that turns the beer bad.
Okay.
But we really have no problem turning the barrel upside down and dumping it down the drain.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we actually take it as like a pretty serious responsibility that as an all sour brewery, and people come into our place and it might be their first experience with sour beer, and we take all this time to make this beer. Why would we release a shitty beer?
Yeah.
And that's going to reflect poorly on every brewery out there
You're
that's
right.
making sour beer. And I've said this before, but it's our responsibility because we're kind of riding the coattails of great sour beer brewers like Russian River, especially locally.
Yeah.
And they're so consistent with their sour beers, and the level of quality is so high.
Yeah.
That if we came in and kind of just released even just okay beer, that would be a shame.
I think you're right.
So we take it really, really seriously to release only the best beer, and we have no problem dumping bad sour beer.
That's a great attitude to have. And it's not only your brand, like you said, it's kind of everybody's brand. And I think in particular with the sour beer model, you're kind of under, maybe scrutiny isn't the right word, but under greater pressure, not from craft beer fans, I don't think. A lot of craft beer fans will accept almost any sour beer, even if it's sort of vinegary sometimes, because sometimes we just don't know. We just, it's sour and we love it. But I kind of more mean like non-craft beer fans who are, all their friends are telling them about craft beer and sour beer and whatever, and they come in and try something that you didn't really do that great on. They're like, yeah, cool, you guys are insane. I'll never have a sour beer again. It's almost harder for you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, sour beer is, I think it's a big part of it is it's an acquired taste. It's not as approachable as every other beer style out there. So when it comes to sour beer too, you have to overcome a couple things if you're a new consumer to it. First, the price point.
Yeah.
It's usually a little more expensive than other beers. Then it's sour, and you got to get over that.
Yeah.
And we like to position people who are new to sour beer with the 3-sip rule, which I think Lauren Salazar might have pioneered this.
She's in the sour program for New Belgium.
Yeah. She's making some amazing sour beers, and we look to her for inspiration a lot.
Okay.
But
so what is the 3-sip rule?
The 3-sip rule is the first sip is going to shock your palate.
Okay.
Be ready for it. It might hit you right in the trigeminal nerve, which is right in the cheeks. That makes your mouth pucker.
That one that hurts, kind of.
That's the next sour beer name, by the way. Trigeminal.
Trademark the Rare Barrel 2014.
And then the second sip is, you're going to start honing in. And by the third sip, you'll be tasting the beer as you should.
Okay.
But if you just hand someone a sour beer and they've never had one before, they might not be ready for it and, might not come back to it.
Yeah.
And then on the kind of subject of off flavors in sour beer, I think that sour beer has the potential to have worse off flavors than some other beers.
Okay.
Just in terms of, that nail polish, isopropyl alcohol kind of flavor.
Yeah.
Band-Aid. These are flavors that you can get when you're playing around with Brettanomyces, and they're pretty disgusting.
Right.
So, we feel it's our responsibility to just, if we get that, dump it down the drain, not try to blend that down and dilute those flavors and hide them amongst the good barrels.
That was my next question, is if you, try to use them as a blend so that you can get away with it.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Second that.
Which is a great philosophy, because we always talk about using great ingredients, so all the way through the brew process, right? That's how you end up with great beer or great food, for example. So why take shit and blend it with something great? It's not gonna work out that well. How many have you? Roughly, maybe a better way to ask it is: have you guys had to dump a lot of beer, or are you doing pretty well with it?
I haven't experience with it from the brewery. I think we're doing pretty well so far. We've had to dump about 5 or 6 oak barrels. And at the current time, I think we have about 500 or 600 full.
Okay, that's pretty great. What's an oak barrel? 30 or 40 gallons, 50 gallons?
59 gallons usually.
Okay.
What has gone wrong when you've had to dump it? Is it the same problem every time?
A lot of the off flavors Alex was talking about. You get this big ethyl acetate nail polish smell. You get like a big vinegar aroma. We don't stress too much. There's other off flavors that will go away over time, but some are just kind of stamped into the beer, and we know they're not going to go away. So we'd rather just get them down the drain as soon as possible so they don't get anywhere else in the brewery and move on from those.
You think it's a result of the barrel? Like, why the 1 out of 100,
Could be. I mean, could be, there's Acetobacter growing in the barrel, and we don't know it going in. Maybe it doesn't... So maybe a little bit about our barrel preparation process. We get the barrels in dry from the wineries. We will visually inspect them, we'll smell them, and then we'll usually treat them with potassium metabisulfite and citric acid solution. That'll get you pretty far. And like I said, we haven't had many to dump, so that has done us well. But then there's also some cellaring techniques that we really try to stay true to. Don't ever have a half full barrel or a partially full barrel. We never ever do it. Even if we are emptying a tank and we fill 18.5 barrels, we'll fill it with whatever beer is in the other tank, no matter what. Even if we think it's not really even going to go together.
Okay.
Because that barrel is going to go bad.
No matter what. Okay.
Too much exposure to oxygen.
Okay.
So we never have a half full barrel ever. If you have a leaky barrel, you got to get on that shit right away.
Okay.
So if I think I actually heard Mitch Steele on his session have a great quote about this. If there's beer leaking out, there's oxygen leaking in.
Okay. Yeah.
So, the liquid's coming out. It's got to be replaced by something. And oxygen is the enemy of sour beer aging in barrels. Over time, it's just going to really mess things up.
Okay.
So we're really proactive because that's all we do. We're not brewing every day. So we're actively making sure that our cellar is intact. No barrels are leaking. Everything's topped off. We want to keep on top of this so that we don't lose a lot of beer that are just in bad barrels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you fill barrels and then leave some behind in kegs for topping off, or are you sucking out of other barrels kind of to keep like most of the barrels full, or how are you doing that?
What we'll usually do is we'll have two fermentations going at the same time. So we have just a little bit about our cellar. We have two 30-barrel fermentation tanks. We just got a new 100-barrel fermentation tank in. So if we empty one of them, there's usually beer in the other. In fact, I think there's always been beer in the other. So we just top off with whatever's in that. Even if it's, let's say we have one tank and we're emptying it and it's like a Berliner style recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is like a black sour beer. And we're just like, I don't know if those are going to go together, but you know what? We're going to have one barrel of it, and it's better than having that barrel be ruined.
Do you do clean fermentation in these fermentation tanks, or that's Brettanomyces and other things as well?
So we haven't done really any clean fermentation so far.
Okay.
We've done a lot of Brett and Lacto fermentation up front, Brett Lacto PDO, without any Saccharomyces. In fact, I think there was a while where the brewery was Saccharomyces free, maybe over a year.
Does that mean then that fermentation, that I guess you'd still call it primary fermentation, is really pretty long also? It's not like you're doing a 2-week ferment there either and then just having the long barrel time. You've got a long ferment in stainless too.
Well, it is still a relatively short stainless fermentation. It's basically just to get the vigorous part of it over.
Okay.
So when we fill barrels, we are filling with yeast in suspension and quite a bit of sugar left. So let's say we have a 12 Plato beer. This is just our typical fermentation.
Okay.
12 Plato beer, Brettanomyces and Lactobacillus in the primary fermentation in stainless steel, 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll put it into barrels. At that time, it could be from 1 Plato, which is around finishing for us. It could be upwards of 5 Plato. So definitely an incomplete fermentation.
Okay.
But maybe before we get any further, I should say that some of the stuff we talk about that we're doing right now is not necessarily what we're going to be doing in the future. So sure, we haven't done any Saccharomyces fermentations yet, but being an all sour brewery, we're going to do everything at least once. So we don't have a house culture. We don't have a certain way of doing things. We're going to do everything once. We try to be incredibly experimental, and we don't subscribe to the theory, at least, and this is just for us personally, that there's one way of doing things.
Okay.
Now, if you're, a regular brewery and you've got your sour program, I think it makes sense to have your house sour culture. You're feeding it, you're growing it up, and you ferment out your ale, and then you crash cool it, you put it into your barrels, and then you add your Brett Lacto PDO in a secondary fermentation after that. That's the classic American way of making sour beer.
Yeah.
But for us, we have a unique opportunity to do things any way we want. So let's get after it. Let's try this, let's try that. Let's learn what Cascade does. Let's learn what Russian River does. Let's learn what Lost Abbey does.
Yeah.
Let's learn what Allagash does, Crooked Stave, Jester King.
You guys are just a bunch of copycats.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, please keep it up.
Yeah, as you should be. Yeah, take all of those. I see what you mean. You get to experiment with all of it. What a great position to be in.
What copied beer should we open next?
Oh. We have
and what brewery is it from?
Yeah.
We're going to take a break anyway.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we do that? Can we do that? But you were going to say, Alex, before the break, or you want to wait?
We got time. After.
You want to wait?
Yeah,
okay. We'll take a quick break so we can hang out, and we'll choose the next beer. We're hanging out with the boys from the Rare Barrel. We're live at the Hop Grenade. We got a bunch of people here drinking the beer. I'm hoping to see one of these kegs kick, and if not, I'm taking it home with me. So get on it out there, boys. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
Listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping.
Well, yeah, but...
the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
The Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
The wine-making supplies. The distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
What could be better than great blues music and great beer?
Yeah, rock your summer right at the 5th Annual Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival. Saturday, July 19th from noon to 6 p.m.
Come enjoy tasty beer, delicious food, and free live music.
JB and Den Review, Frankie G and the Conviction, Jinx Jones and the Kingtones, Garumpus Room, and Loose Blues.
Unlimited beer tasting and VIP access available at beautiful Pleasant Hill Park. More than 25 of the best and some of the newest Bay Area breweries will be on hand, like Lagunitas, the 21st Amendment, Sierra Nevada, Heretic, Lost Coast, Rocksteady, and Almanac Brewing. Get your tickets right now for the Blues and Brews Festival at bluesandbrewsfestival.com. And Friday night will be a pre-party concert from 6 to 9 p.m.
Come enjoy the music of Lumberyard.
Don't miss the Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival for great blues and great brews. Get your tickets today.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
But Doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acids.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
The biggest innovation in brewer's yeast in 125 years is here. Yeast that has never been exposed to the environment. See it for yourself at NHC in Grand Rapids. Pure yeast and fermentation. White Labs.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry. And to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Segmented, demented, fermented.
It's the session.
All right, right, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us here at the Hop Grenade in Concord, California. We're having some fun with the boys from the Rare Barrel. They're out here from Berkeley. Made it all the way out from Berkeley into the outer East Bay.
Yes, and now I'm much closer to the microphone.
Yes, thank you. It only took 9 times of telling these
Yeah,
guys.
that's nonsense, though, because I thought he was sounding great. I had to fix one little setting. Speak to me again.
You sound great too, Justin.
See, I guess it is a little bit low.
I'm right up on that.
You sound great in my headphones, man.
He's all up in it.
I have a boner right now. That's how good you sound.
I'm deep.
You're all deep.
Good low.
I'm at least 1 inch deep.
All right, I'm cranking the thing, so if it's not working now, then it's your fault, Jay, not mine.
Sorry.
Well, I really am actually cranking it up here.
Yeah, I'm on it.
You sound like $1 million. You're good.
Cranking on your 1 inch.
Wait, Warren, you said you wouldn't say anything.
See, it's fine when it's like that. No one even knows what the hell that means out there.
Yeah, I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, we can keep doing that. That's fine. Good. All right, we got the Rare Barrel guys in here. I had a couple questions come through from the chat room for you during the last segment. So before we carry on, I think we're going to pour another beer right now. But why don't we get a couple questions out? Oregon Curtis wants to know if I can ask Jay about doing funkier sours instead of the cleaner tropical sours that you're doing right now. He says, a.k.a., when are you going to start doing something?
Great question. And props if you actually live in Oregon and you're drinking our beers. That's great.
Someone is selling it on eBay to somebody in Oregon, clearly.
So kind of like we were talking about before, we're going to do a little experimenting with one of everything. And it just so happens that we spent about 8 months to start with a particular fermentation with 1 Brett and 1 Lacto. And that has just yielded really clean, nicely lactic, tart sour beers. And so we really want to dive deep into the fermentations before we move on to something else. We want to understand them, maybe not fully, but as much as we can. So we're definitely going to do funkier sours. We already have some funkier sours in our cellar because we've moved on to other experiments. But a lot of the beers that are out right now are a lot cleaner. So they're definitely coming down the pipeline. If there's a sour beer you can imagine, we will be releasing it in the next 10 years.
Excellent.
So
I like that attitude.
What makes a beer funkier? Like, how do you get that funkier aspect to it instead of the cleaner tropical fermentation?
Great question, Sir Alex. So it has a lot to do with the yeast fermentation. So, and actually, you know what? Shout out to Chad from Crooked Stave, because this is something I really learned from him, is that the more phenolic of a primary fermentation with Saccharomyces you have, the Brett and a secondary, and I'm very sorry, Chad, if I'm botching this, but if you do a secondary with Brettanomyces, you'll get a lot more of that. How do I say, mouse taint?
Oh,
is that going to play out in the Hop Grenade?
I think that's okay? Fine. Yeah, mouse taint is fine.
Cool. It's just going to be a lot more Brett expressive.
Okay.
The more phenolic, the more ester you have in the Saccharomyces primary. So we haven't done any Saccharomyces primary, especially not phenolic. It's been 100% Brett primary. And maybe this is a good time to talk a little bit about the timing of the additions of Brettanomyces. So a decent rule of thumb is that the earlier you add Brettanomyces, the less Brett character you'll have. It's kind of counterintuitive. So you do a 100% Brett fermentation, no sac, and you get to the end of it, and you're kind of like, hey, what the fuck? This is just like an ale. Like, super clean. I know you guys had Chad on the show. You had some of his beers.
Yeah.
100% Brett.
Yeah.
And you guys were raving, super clean. It's like, oh, this is 100% Brett porter. This is just like a nice malty porter.
Absolutely.
Like, that's awesome. And then you take a beer like Orval. And that's a beer that is totally clean. It's a Belgian pale ale, very hoppy if you have it over there young. But bottle conditioned with Brettanomyces. It's added at the end in a stressful condition where Brett will express itself a lot more.
Okay.
Less access to sugar, under pressure. It's the harder the conditions for Brett, the more Brett flavor gets expressed. That's been my experience. And so we haven't done a lot of Brett stressor experiments.
I see.
But like we've said before, we'll do everything.
What's interesting about that, though, like with some of the beers that I've had from you guys, I don't know that I'd call any of them like a cleaner sour beer. I mean, it's real sour beer to me, and I like really sour beer. So if they were mild sour, right, like Berliner Weiss sour, I wouldn't be the fan of Rare Barrel that I am. So I think you guys are doing some funky beers.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for your fandom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And second,
you're welcome, Sir Jay.
Second, I think it's more the aroma. So yeah, definitely they're not lightly tart or I wouldn't call this a sour beer. It's more just like if you smelled these beers, you wouldn't think they would have Brett.
Okay, I see. All right, yeah, that makes sense. What's in our glass now?
The shadows. Shadows of our eyes. No, their eyes. Shadows of someone's eyes.
There we go again with the long, confusing name that's hard to remember.
Which one is it? It's all of those things, isn't it? It's the shadows. The shadows of their eyes. The shadows of this is eyes.
Yeah.
That one's eyes.
Look at all the text on the label. I'm not kidding.
Chapter 4, page 236 of War and Peace.
Yeah. Ownership of eyes is very complicated, apparently.
Ownership of, yes.
Yeah.
So it's the shadows of their eyes?
Yes, shadows of their... Do you guys do the Smuckers with a name like Shadows of Their Eyes? It must be good. That was like the Smucker's old, tagline.
With a
the
name
beer's
like
gotta
Smuckers?
Be good.
Huh?
Yeah, now we're going to start saying that.
Yeah. Who named the Shadows of Their Eyes?
This is from a song by Harry Nilsson.
I knew this had to be from a song. Go on.
Yeah.
Although I was expecting you to say like Depeche Mode or Morrissey.
No. And we just thought it sounded cool for a dark beer.
It is cool. This one...
Yeah. It's on the Forrest Gump soundtrack. If anyone wants to buy that through the Brewing Network's Amazon.com link.
Actually, I have it on...
Jay can stay.
I have it on CD.
This guy's a professional.
Yeah.
I'll just burn it and give it to you for free.
Damn it.
Don't worry about it.
Amazon. See, JP has to go. Jay can stay. It's all about support.
It's all right.
All right. That was rude.
Sometimes you can be rude to me.
Got real serious.
Yeah.
For a moment.
Boy. You all right over there, JP?
I'm good. I'm not feeling well.
You're not?
Silent.
Yeah, I got a fucking stomach thing going on.
No.
It's kind of amazing.
Well, sour beer's great for stomach
I know,
things.
right? Yeah.
It actually is.
He's wearing a Star Wars shirt, though. That's nice.
You'd think that'd make you happy.
What? Yeah.
It's weird that JP picked tonight's show to feel bad because I
picked tonight's show.
Well, yeah,
to
I'm
feel
assuming
bad.
you're doing it on purpose.
I chose it on purpose. That's absolutely correct.
Well, you're in the
That's a good segue.
tap room. You're in the Rare Barrels tap room every day. Is that correct? I mean, you're there a lot.
They came to your
correct.
Of all the nights to be sick,
And you chose this night.
What is wrong with you?
I did it on purpose. Scott's absolutely right.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know.
Of all the nights to choose.
He's taking a mental
right?
health day.
Are you going to do to yourself because of the sour beer?
No.
It's not that kind of stomach thing.
No.
And that doesn't happen.
Because it is still, like, the climate control in here sucks.
It's pretty bad.
If you were to duty,
yeah.
Jay would know it right away.
I might pass a little gas. My carboy might burp a little bit.
No, don't do that. You would shart.
Don't risk it.
It smelled just like the BART on the way over
It
here.
was that yesterday. It was very like where you don't know what's going to happen, so you can't fart because you might shart.
Oh, yeah.
It was like that yesterday.
It was that yesterday?
So, yeah. It's the tail end.
I thought my GM shit himself today. I was standing next to him, and he sort of twitched, and he's got this look on his face, and I was like, "You just sharted, didn't you?"
Or he's reaching for his gun. Dude, watch out.
He said he pulled a hammy just standing there. Is what it was. He pulled a hamstring, which is better than he was right in the middle of the restaurant. So,
well, good for him, bad for you, or the other way around.
Workers' comp.
See, look nobody out there is even listening to our. This is great. It turns out we can keep saying anything we want.
They can't really hear it.
We have
so
one listener.
Yeah.
Look at Dylan grinning like I'm
Dylan Ryan sucks.
They said they can hear you sometimes, but not a lot of other stuff.
Oh, great, perfect,
wonderful.
That's all I want
It's
them
just
to hear.
because
Anyway.
it's really raucous out there.
Yeah,
so
that's how we like it.
Maybe a normal Monday night. This is like opening night at the Hop Grenade.
Yeah.
Shit is popping off.
Well, I like it. Thanks, guys, for being here and experimenting in this show with us. I was saying to them at the break that they're really we're testing the model here. The whole model is: does anybody care if we do a show with brewers in here? You get to stand out there and drink the beer while we do this thing. You guys are letting us test it on you, and so far, I think yes. Yeah. They're out there tasting it.
No one cares. I think we're riding on your coattails, though. I mean, you guys are the Brewing Network, starting a pub over here.
Are you
where
guys
we can
sticking
grab
around
beer.
for the fireworks show afterwards?
It's like Disneyland.
Is that a euphemism? And if so, yes.
It depends on if you're standing close to JP.
We're going to revert back to Pacheco days. Doc brought all the fire, his flamethrowers. After the show, we're going to go out into the park across the street and get in trouble. He's going to start setting shit on fire.
Oh, yeah.
All right, tell us about this beer that's in our glass now, the Shadows of Their Eyes.
You got it right.
Shadows of Their Eyes is our dark sour aged in oak barrels. We did a fermentation with Brettanomyces and Lactobacillus. And with this one, what we did was, it was actually one of our first fermentation experiments at the Rare Barrel. So this one is one where we have all these variables that we get to play with ingredients when it comes to sour beer. You have different strains of Brettanomyces, different strains of Lactobacillus, Pediococcus, how to manage fermentation, different types of barrels, different types of fruits, different ways of preparing fruits, spices. The list goes on, heads start spinning. And you got to think, what ingredients are you going to focus on first? Because it's really easy to get distracted with everything and want to do everything. But what we want to do is we really want to get a better understanding of how to make sour beer, how to make reproducible sour beer. So what we're doing with this one is this was part of our first fermentation experiment. We decided that, obviously fermentation is the most important part of making beer, and we want to get to know Brett and Lacto, how they work together. So we did a experiment where we repitched mixed cultures of Brett and Lacto that were used to ferment one beer. We repitched that mixed culture into a following beer, and then the next one, and the next one. And this was the third repitching of that beer, of that mixed culture of Brett and Lacto. And we learned a lot with this beer. This was actually the fourth one. What we did was we started with a pale, then we repitched that same yeast and bacteria into a golden, then we repitched it into a red, and then into a dark. And this was the fourth. This was the dark.
Okay.
And one of the cool things we found was that with each repitching, we found that the beer would become more sour quicker. So after 2 weeks, the final product would be more sour than it was before. And we also found that attenuation actually decreased a little bit each time. So what we think was going on was the Lactobacillus was actually kind of out-competing the Brettanomyces to a certain point.
Okay.
I'm not really talking anything about the beer right now.
Yeah.
But this is kind of
just sort of how it works.
How it works. And this is kind of the story behind this beer, is that it's that fourth repitching of yeast and bacteria.
Yeah.
And just to add on that, so we kind of operated under this assumption that repitching this mixed culture increases the population of Lactobacillus versus Brettanomyces, which it does. But the next time around, we tried an experiment where we did the same thing: pale, gold, red, and dark, increasing gravities, a little bit of increasing specialty malts, and we can talk about recipes at some point if we have time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then we went back around for the fifth repitch, and we went back to the pale. And that kind of fell flat, actually, on the acidity.
Oh, yeah.
So we tried to challenge our assumptions. What we thought we learned maybe wasn't true. And we're looking at one thing we're looking into now is, in a Brett and Lacto primary fermentation, is specialty malt with melanoidin content something that's going to stop, or specialty malt that's going to stop the Brett in its tracks for almost like a secondary acidic fermentation. So Brett and Lacto, they have total access to all sugars from day one. But as time goes on, the Lacto gets to a certain pH and then pretty much stops for us. But in these fermentations where we saw the red and the dark, and by the way, speaking of this beer, this is the dark.
Okay.
So this is our dark recipe, not blended with anything else. No special secondary ingredients. It's just our dark wort with Brett and Lacto, the fourth generation repitch. So we kind of, what we thought was tied to repitches and generations, actually became tied to recipe. So it's something we're still working on and still trying to learn about.
Interesting. Meaning that it reacts differently to the grains and the different things by recipe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, we never think we know something concrete, because you can make an assumption and it can be an incorrect assumption.
Yeah.
And you can operate that way on and on. We try, like we said before, we try to be experimental. We try to challenge our assumptions.
Yeah.
And honestly, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to do that.
Charlie Bamforth has said the same thing. Tacey, do you have some questions over there? Because I see you nodding your head. But I wanted to point out about that. Charlie Bamforth has come on this program and said the same thing, that there's so much to know about beer. It seems so simple, and fermentation seems like it's so simple, but it's not at all. And he sort of accredits the reason that he's had this long career in researching beer is basically he admits we know nothing. We know very, very little about how this works out. So it sort of makes sense what you're talking about. You think you know how something happens, and then some variable that nobody has studied yet comes into play, and something completely different happens.
Yeah, and that's Charlie Bamforth talking about lager and ale.
Yeah, exactly. Never mind.
So look at us, and we're talking about only doing sour beer.
Yeah.
The literature out there, it's kind of like a barren wasteland. Now, luckily for everyone listening, there's a new book out from the Brewers Association called, I think it's called American Sour Beer.
Sour Beer, yeah.
And it's great. I recommend everyone listening gets that book.
Yeah.
Wild Brews by Jeff Sparrow is a great book. But, stack up all the books on ale and lager fermentation, and then stack the 2 books on
the sour. Yeah.
And so we're kind of trying to do, and I think
are you documenting what you do, just out of curiosity, these experiments and what you're doing?
Absolutely. So that's, we don't have a brew house, we don't have a flagship IPA, we're not brewing every day. A lot of our time is spent documenting and trying to learn from what we're doing. Or else, what's the point?
It's a real nerd thing to do. It's a nerd brewing.
And I mentioned The West Wing, right?
But
I don't even know what that means.
That's a show, right?
It's a show.
It's an Emmy award-winning show.
How did Morrissey end up on your label?
What's that?
How did Morrissey end up on your label? Look at that.
He's in Scorseld.
Yeah. Oh, he is in Scorseld.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
He's very... but the reason I bring up the documentation of it is it was a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, we did an interview with Garrett Oliver at the Great American Beer Festival. And he was starting to... He was kind of saying to brewers that you guys aren't doing enough to document the things that you're doing. In other words, if everybody had actually started to write about this stuff and publish or document their experiments that they're doing, we would have volumes of information about brewing, souring, and lagering. But since breweries aren't really doing that, you're sort of doing it in your own brewery and not telling anybody, that we don't have volumes of information to research and to look up. Does that make sense? Like, I thought it was
Absolutely.
a great point that he was making, that in some ways we're doing all this research and it's just going by the wayside, and some new brewer is going to have to just do it again because it wasn't documented accurately.
You can read some like recovered British brewing log, and it says, it was a cold day. The dew was fresh on the morning grass, like tiny beads of glass clinging for their dear lives.
But
like
for
no one
example,
writes about that.
But like Lauren Salazar has probably done countless experiments, right? And I don't know that she hasn't written them all down and that it's publishable. I just know that I haven't seen that yet, and maybe you haven't either. And you guys over the years are going to have done countless experiments. And if that doesn't end up like a researchable piece of information for brewers that come behind you, I kind of agree with what Garrett was saying, that would be a disappointment. That would almost be a disservice to the industry.
I wish that breweries were documenting for the past 10 years, especially maybe in the 5 years in the meteoric rise of craft beer, because I want to know how so many make diacetyl beers. I don't understand it.
But that's part of the point, actually, that if people were documenting, if the good brewers were talking about their experiments and getting rid of diacetyl, then maybe we wouldn't have that.
Right.
That's actually his point.
Some sort of medium that brewers could come on and talk about their beers, and someone could just collect them all and get the best brewers, and then
I got it.
Talk about what
the train, like do train stopping, like in
like
1800s.
politicians.
Yeah, politicians get on the train track and they just stump from town to town. That's the way to do it.
I wish
someone
someone
needs to do that.
Needs to invent something.
You guys have your heads in the clouds, man. Fantasy land.
It'll never happen.
It's so many brewers,
Yes, we can.
brew houses that they're what they call their own island, and they just don't share it because it's just not been the norm before this.
I love that band. The Lonely Island.
The Lonely Island. So get it out there.
Yeah.
And
everybody's hungry
well,
for
and
it.
I'm not just putting it to you, of course. I guess I
and
really
we're
just
an
mean
open
that,
book.
Yeah,
We are.
And you are expressing it here, but I just really thought he was making a good point about documenting, because craft brewers in America are actually doing research. You call it brewing, or in your case, fermenting, but it's research, right?
Absolutely, and that's how we view our brewery as a decades-long experiment.
Okay.
And, I mean, Garrett
Just
nailed
like
it.
Chad, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we take a lot of inspiration from Chad.
Yeah.
And luckily, we've been able to open our projects almost at the same time. And, yeah, I mean, I remember being still at the brewery in Orange County and reading his dissertation. I was like, what is this? Final. It's like being in the middle of a desert and then finding like a 32-ounce Gatorade. It's like, yes.
Cherry flavor. None of that orange shit.
Lay it on me, Chad.
You mean you rot your teeth?
So, Jay, what do we document at the Rare Barrel?
You can slam
What's
dunk.
important to follow and track?
Great question, Sir Alex.
Right you are, Sir Alex.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different batches out there in barrels, and about every 10 days we try to take gravity and pH readings, we take temperature readings, we do sensory, and that's a lot more often than a lot of breweries will do. I mean, for barrel-aged beer, I feel like sometimes when a brewery will start a sour beer project, it's almost like they view it as a crock pot. It's like, set it and forget it. I'm going to put this beer in here with this bunch of yeast and bacteria that I don't really know anything about, and I'm going to lay it out there for I don't know how long. I'm going to taste it every 6 months.
Okay.
Well, it's like you don't treat your IPA that way. You don't treat your, Imperial Stout that way. Why do you treat your sour beer that way? You should be checking in on it a lot. I mean, it's a very complex fermentation. There are a lot of ups and downs with acidity and attenuation, temperature flux. I mean, you're talking about a beer that may age over a year in an ambient environment, and most breweries are not temperature controlled. So you're telling me you're not even going to track temperature over time? These are just bedrock things that a lot of breweries need to be doing with their sour beer.
Yeah.
And it's something that we really spend a lot of time doing at the Rare Barrel.
When you pull a sample and it's real ropey, do you make the cellarman taste it instead of you?
There's nothing wrong with ropey beer. It tastes great.
What?
It's like,
Does it?
Yeah, it tastes fine.
Really?
I don't see Justin choking that down.
I would be curious how it tastes, but I couldn't look at it. I have to close my eyes.
We don't have a lot of ropey beer, but I did a special prop of this. It's maybe the only secret we have.
Okay.
It's a mix of yeast and bacteria that actually did turn ropey.
The secret being the blend of is
Just
that the
where it
secret
came
part?
from.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
So this, and it was the first beer I've ever seen at the Rare Barrel turn ropey.
Okay,
and, ran into the office and showed everyone, check this out.
Right.
Strung it apart, and it was all
cool
weird.
It's cool that Russian River gave you that pitch of yeast. That's awesome.
No.
Actually, he's the only one I've heard come in. I only said it because he's the only one who's come in here and really talked about ropey with us and things like that. How gnarly.
That's the batch I knocked out through my beard.
Oh,
the one that got ropey.
Very ropey.
Lots of rope.
Yeah.
If you love the mouthfeel of okra, you'll love ropey beer.
Right. If you love okra.
Sorry if that was too niche, but
You're good.
we're in Berkeley. We talk about okra and stuff
all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, if you guys should happen to, say, fall prey to the nasty, mean streets of Berkeley, how are we going to get access to all your experiments?
Do you mean if they die?
Pretty much. I was trying to be more eloquent, but
I see. Yeah. Well, if you get hit by a bus on the way home,
are you talking about availability of beer or like our brewer's notes?
No,
Yes.
your brewer's notes. Are you guys
Yes
thinking,
to both.
Are you thinking about putting out some kind of publication of some sort? So
how about a weekly podcast in the BN?
Oh my God!
This is our first one right here. Yeah, and maybe we should talk off air.
What if we did a weekly Rare Barrel podcast?
Monthly?
It doesn't have to be 3 hours long. Semi-annually.
Yeah, you said monthly, right?
What if there was a short? It doesn't have to be long. What if there were? Most podcasts, by the way, are like 15 minutes long. They're not like our stupid thing, where I'm just spitballing here. It doesn't. I'm not saying this has to happen, but where you guys did sit down and you just unloaded on what happened in the brewery that week. I think you'd end up with more listeners than we have.
I mean, Alex, what did I say before we came in here? I'm I'm always talking to other brewers about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's a big passion of mine. I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
We're an open book. We want this out there. We want everyone to make more sour beer, better sour beer. So, yeah, that's something maybe we should discuss.
Sour Sunday right here at the Hop Grenade. We got a studio going on. We can get different brewers on the line. They don't have to come in. You guys come in. We'll get someone to work the board for you. By someone, I mean, it's not me because I'm just going to drink the beer.
Correct.
Actually, this might be one thing you get me to work for. I might actually come in on a Sunday and work if we're talking sour beer.
How about that?
For that one time a month when things go sour.
All right, we might have to actually talk off air about this.
Do
because,
you do the voiceovers, Beardy?
Anytime.
He's the voice of the BN.
Don't let them name their own show, though. We're going to name the show.
Oh, yeah.
You asked about where the experiments are, though, and all of that, and we kind of view our tasting room as our experimental outlet. We've had, I think, 20 plus blends on in the tasting room since we've opened, and we've bottled 6 or 7 of them now, but that's how we view our tasting room is, we're doing these experiments, and we're going to put a lot of these smaller beers on single barrel releases occasionally, sometimes a couple beers, and that's where we test it out and, put it out there, see what people think. It gives us the opportunity to try it and go from there. And some of the beers that we've already been rebrewing, some of the beers that started off as that single barrel one-off crazy idea where we took 5 pounds of fresh roasted coffee beans from Cyclass Coffee and put them in our shadows of their eyes and saw how that went. And we liked it, people liked it, and we tried it again.
Real-time feedback like that is great.
It's great. Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts about the tasting room is it gives us a chance to put our crazy ideas out there and also gives our customers a chance to see what's going on behind the scenes, not just, maybe what we think are our best beers that we put in bottles, but kind of the stuff what's going on in our heads.
Yeah.
People want to be in on that experiment. They want to enjoy following along.
940 Parker Street, Berkeley, California, 94710.
Go be in on the real-time feedback, which I think is great for you guys. It's going to be, I don't want real-time feedback here for us. So whatever your opinions are out there, you keep them to yourself.
They're smiling. They're smiling out there.
I think they're feeling good. All right, before we take another break, what's the beer in our glass now? What'd you just pour?
The Proportional Response.
Jesus.
Oh, the second Aaron Sorkin reference of the night.
Yeah.
Can we stick to one name, and can the name have less than 8 syllables?
This is episode 2, season 1.
Okay.
A Proportional Response.
I started watching The West Wing after
Based
we got
on
on
this?
West Wing kick for naming 2 beers.
And are you a fan now, too? It's a good show.
Well, I made it through episode 3.
Yeah, okay. And then you gave up.
Partnership over.
Yeah.
It was a serious talk.
Listen, creative differences are happening already.
No, but this beer is our, we call it our Amber Sour. And maybe before I go into, why it's called an Amber Sour, or what this beer is, maybe just a second on how we name beers. You might notice that we've called it a dark sour or an amber sour. We have a golden sour, a pale.
Okay.
And we really just name it based on the color of the wort or the base beer that we're brewing.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to our philosophy when it comes to making sour beer and not being constrained by the styles that are out there. We can't brew lambic because by definition, lambic is very strict and it has to be made in a certain region of Belgium. And then there's Flanders, Oud Bruin, Flemish Reds, all those. And what we really want to do in order to kind of explore where sour beer is and all the different flavors you can create, we're not going by style. We're just making what we want to make, blending what we think tastes good, and putting it in a package.
We're making it up as we go.
I like the way I like your naming mechanism like that. Your other naming mechanism sucks, but the style naming mechanism is good. Just fuck it. Just go by the color, and it's a sour, and the rest of it sort of speaks for itself when you list the ingredients and you start talking about what's in the beer and how you blended it.
Yeah,
and that makes sense to me. It's impossible to corner everything into. It's almost a problem with some of the GABF competition, right? Which is great competition. I have nothing against style guidelines. I think they're very necessary. But when sometimes you have to cram a beer into those, you're not actually describing the beer anyway. You're describing whatever category it fell under, but you're not describing the beer. So I think your mechanism works just fine.
Yeah, and we've done that actually with this beer. We entered it into Belgian Oud Bruin at the World Beer Cup.
Okay.
And it placed bronze medal.
Nice.
But we would never call it that.
Yeah.
Because it's not made in that traditional way. But if you read the description and you compare the description to the flavor of this beer, they're spot on.
I don't know if you're going to think this is a compliment or not, but you sound a lot like Brian Hunt from Moonlight up here.
I absolutely think that's.
I love this guy, and I like his philosophy on beer, and he would say the same thing. But it's not an Oud Bruin.
Death in Texas, by the way, is just
great beer,
delicious,
great beer. He'd say, "You want me to call it that so I can enter it into your competition, but it's not an Oud Bruin. It's a Sonoma Brown Sour or whatever he would end up calling it, because he knows that an Oud Bruin has to be brewed in that region too."
Well, so maybe he wouldn't approve of us entering into that category.
Well, you might not approve of that part, but he'd approve of your philosophy. All right, so tell us then more about this particular beer.
So this beer that we're drinking right now is Proportional Response, and this is our amber sour. It's a blend of two very different beers. We had this faintly tart pale that for us just didn't meet our threshold of sour. And that's kind of a very subjective area for us is, where do we draw the line for sour? And this faintly tart pale did not. But it was a really nice base beer. And then we had this very assertively sour red that for us was on that upper end where, we kind of were wondering, is this too sour or not? But it just tastes great. Very, very intense notes of cherry. And so what we were doing is we were sitting down in our blending session. And, Jay mentioned the blending session earlier, but blending session is where we sit down with the beer and the barrel samples in front of us, and we taste them by themselves. And we say, do we want to release this by itself? Or is there something that could make this better?
Yeah.
And what could it be? We have a lot of things to play with. With this one, we were sitting down with two very different beers, mixed them together in small tasting glasses, and said, these two beers together, the flavors just work.
Yeah.
And we let the flavors dictate themselves with that again. It's all about letting the flavors speak to us and make the beer.
It's a great beer.
It's a nice, light, drinkable sour beer. It's not
so good.
Going to blow you away with its acidity, but
I wish it would blow me. The only thing that would make this beer better is if it would blow me.
That would be better.
Away.
But it's Sorkin, though. So it doesn't matter.
Do you guys have is there such a thing as palate memory? Because you have 50 barrels, so when you taste it by itself and then you're trying to think of what would make it better, are you looking through a notebook of 50 pages of what each barrel is, or are you going remember 27? Remember that thing we talked about with 27? That might go good in this.
Yeah, you should ask. I can't personally speak for a really great palate memory myself, but you should talk to Doug from Society because he's one of those guys that, from my experience, when I talk to him about beer, he'll recall beers way too far back to remember.
Yeah. I don't have that at all, but I know people. I know what you're talking about. That people have that. One of our bartenders we have here, Lewis. Lewis is a badass. All our bartenders are awesome, but Lewis, and I'm just getting to know him. He kind of has that too. He talks about beers that he's had over time, and he'll be drinking one, and he's doing the comparison. Oh, it's a little bit like the bottle I had from the other brewery a year ago. He can do that too. I don't have any of that. But in your blending, I would think it's somewhat necessary. Otherwise, you have too many beers to figure out what the hell to try to blend it with.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, and there's just the way we make beer, there's very little barrel-to-barrel variance, which we'll have a lot in most breweries. But I'm not sure when we'll talk about our name, the rare barrel, and what the meaning behind that is. But
we'll do it after the break.
That's actually a great tee up for that.
Okay. Why don't we do this then? We'll take another break, mostly because I have to urinate. Again? Finally. And
also our sponsors or something.
I haven't even had any of the beer that's on tap yet. Maybe we should order that at the break too.
Yes.
And have some more, but we have so many bottles in here to go through too.
You can't have to urinate that bad because you're not even standing yet.
That's true.
When you start standing and talking, it'll get worse. We know it's bad.
Did I tell you that I put a hole into the wall this week that I can just actually stand up and urinate right into EJ Fair's toilets right here?
I see it.
Was that how bad you had to urinate?
I can't see it.
You blew a hole in the wall?
Yeah. I didn't connect it to the plumbing or anything. It's just a hole in the wall. But
is that a 1/4 inch or a 3/8?
Damn you. JP, you're back. Jay's out.
Good. Great.
So fickle I am. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk to the boys from the Rare Barrel a little bit more. We've got more beer to try, and their beer's on tap. You still have time to come down to the Hop Grenade if you're in the area and get some yourself. Hang in there. It's The Session, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Adventures in Homebrewing has the knowledge and expertise to craft their own gear and original recipes. Some of the things homebrewing.org creates and manufactures in-house are the Brutus brew stands and propane burners, the Serial Killer adjustable 2-roller grain mill with 7-pound hopper, custom stainless steel false bottoms designed to fit kegels, coolers, and mini-sized brew pots. And the BN Army receives 10% off their homebrewing.org orders when they use coupon code AIH10 at checkout. The brewers at Adventures in Homebrewing have designed a huge selection of original recipes for extract and all-grain brewing. Adventures in Homebrewing original recipes are tried and tested, proven to be of the best quality. And right now, Adventures in Homebrewing is shipping 24 of their best recipes for free. Visit homebrewing.org for the most current selection. Once you try one of Adventures in Homebrewing recipes, you'll keep coming back for more. And now, it's even easier with free shipping on these kits. And don't forget to use the current coupon code AIH10. Adventures in Homebrewing at homebrewing.org.
This is a public service announcement.
Hey, dude, I think there's... what's wrong? You don't look so good. There's something wrong with your beer. It's making everyone sick.
Don't let your beer make your loved ones ill. Proper cleaning and sanitation is the key to avoiding puke on your shoes.
But I used an all-in-one.
Cleaning and sanitizing cannot be done in a one-step process. No cleaner can sanitize, and no sanitizer can clean. The amazing chemists at 5 Star Chemicals have your solution. Clean with BBW and sanitize with Star San.
Fantastic!
Your friends and loved ones will thank you. 5 Star products are available at fine homebrew shops near you and online. Put your best beer forward with 5 Star Chemicals, your one stop for the cleanest 2-step solution.
Downtown Joe's, where everyone is welcome, especially if you like drinking and tasting beer. Head brewer Colin Kaminsky's favorite beers are the Tantric IPA and the Double Secret Probation IPA. But you'll have loads of others to choose from when you redeem your exclusive Brewing Network savings. Downtown Joe's is the best brewery destination and the hottest night spot in Napa. Colin invites all homebrewers and fans of craft beer to stop by and enjoy the great food and beer. Whether you're in the mood for riverside dining, live music, or just hanging out at the bar to meet a person of the opposite sex or a person of the same sex, Downtown Joe's has exactly what you're looking for. And now just mention the Brewing Network to receive $1 off your beer at Downtown Joe's. That's right, take $1 off every one of their great selection of craft beers, including the Lazy Summer Wheat, Golden Thistle Porter, and the Triple Dog Dare You. Come to Downtown Joe's and enjoy the laid-back atmosphere of Napa's best brew pub. Visit downtownjoes.com right now for current beers, the live music schedule, or to drool over their delicious menu items. Downtown Joe's, your neighborhood brew pub where everyone is welcome.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hot Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent yeast fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. I feel like we're actually just getting started out there. I walked out of the studio for the first time, and it's mobbed with people here to hang out with the Rare Barrel. So that's fun to see.
Yeah, it's going off out there.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And everyone knew Justin had to pee, so it was like a parting of the Red Sea.
I did feel like that, too.
They're listening.
I thought it was my giant wiener that was pushing people out, but I think it was just they didn't want to be pissed
As
off.
we established before the break. Quarter-inch to 3/8.
I measured it's a quarter.
I think it's your
Beardy.
perspective.
Thank you.
Looking
It is?
down, I think it might look bigger than it actually is.
Is that how it works? That's how it works.
That's how it works. I mean, for me,
illusion.
it looks smaller. Every time I catch it in the mirror, I go, wow, what the hell's that thing?
Right.
It's my wiener.
And then you're like, oh, it's a little.
I think it was the
pinky.
wet spot on your pants and that desperate look in your face.
That could have been it. That they're clearing out. Even our staff looked at me weird, but it must have been the wet spot. All right, we're hanging out here at the Hop Grenade, and we're still tasting some Rare Barrel beers. In fact, we've got some more to get through. So why don't we get to it? Pour some beer, and
it's poured, baby.
Is it?
Except for your glass.
Scott. You're walking a fine line right now, my friend. We got Nathan Smith in the studio. Beardy's here hanging out with us and helping us out.
Well, he's hanging out.
There's beer on tap outside. There's beer on tap inside. Hurry up and get down to the Grenade if you want to meet the guys from the Rare Barrel. They're going to hang out with us for the rest of the program. And we just got another interview segment with them here, and then we're just going to move on and start having some fun, too. But I want to get more beer information out there while we have the chance.
Why not?
So
that'd be weird.
I did have some more questions come through from the chat room, so why don't we address those first? How about that? Question from Thomas Scottson wants to know, worst accident or mess-up at the brewery? That's always a good question.
Ooh, terrific question. Well, I mean, we mentioned before we've had to dump some barrels, but there was one time we were offloading our box truck, and we had just
the one full of wort?
Full of wort.
Okay.
I believe we were coming back from a Beardy Brewed Heretic batch, which doesn't mean he jinxed it or anything
No
like
big
that.
loss.
Oh, that's not the name of a beer.
No,
and it doesn't
no.
mean
Okay.
they did it on purpose either.
Yeah. So we're taking it off, and we set it down on the ground. It just so happened that the bottom of the tank, there's a threaded fitting, and it had rotated down. So maybe a lot of people won't know what I'm talking about, but the lowest point of the tank was the opening to the bottom of the tank, and that's what hit the ground first.
Oh.
And so it's basically snapped off, and wort started shooting out of it. All over our parking lot.
So is that you're at the Rare Barrel parking lot?
Exactly.
It was very kind of scary at the time because we just had wort flowing out of this tank that's about 550 gallons, and it just kept coming. And Jay's down there, arm deep in wort, trying to shut this off. And
we prefer balls deep.
Yeah, those went in first, and then his arm.
Arm deep is deeper.
It's much deeper.
It's much wider.
But yeah, this wort was just coming, and we couldn't shut the valve, and it was just flowing out. And when it got to a point where it just stopped, and Jay started filming it for about 10 seconds, and then went back at it.
Wait. Let me.
Yes.
I have to figure out this. Okay, so Are you taking the tank off of the truck? Is that what happens?
Yeah. So what happened was I was on the forklift and I was.
So it's your. Now we're getting to the bottom of it.
It
coming out.
He said it, not me.
Yeah. So I was on the forklift. I was bringing the tank off the truck, and all I thought I was doing was bringing it off the truck and setting it down.
Mm-hmm.
But this threaded valve had rotated down about 90 degrees, so it was the first thing to hit the ground.
Okay, so it's not that it fell. It's just I see now.
No,
so
yeah,
now it's now below the pallet or whatever it's on.
It's a very slow, very slow thing going on.
Okay.
But the tank itself is probably about 5,000 pounds.
Okay. That's correct. Yeah.
And so
I can bench that.
Just
dude.
a couple of inches is all it takes to break this off with that amount of weight.
So that happens, and then Jay, do you instantly dive underneath to try to, like, are you wrapping your hands around it trying to stop the flow? What happens?
I did, and then the backup valve was bent from this process, so it would not close.
Okay.
So at that point, I kind of just took a step back, and I was like, we're going to lose this whole fucking tank.
Right.
And
there's nothing you can do.
There's only one thing you can do, Justin. Bust out your iPhone and take a video of it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Where is this footage now? Is it on your... Do you guys have, like, a YouTube?
It's on our
blog.
Our
it is?
Facebook page also, facebook.com/TheRareBarrel.
Okay, facebook.com/TheRareBarrel. You can go find it. How fast is the gush at this point? Are we talking...
It was raging out of there. Yeah, so, but then I kind of came to my senses and I was like, there's got to be some way to do some. The problem is it's not just putting another fitting on there, it's all bent, so connections don't really make sense anymore. But anyway, we ended up figuring it out, closed it up. We probably lost about 80 gallons. Something like that.
Yeah.
80 to 100 gallons.
Okay.
And
it looked really funny in the parking lot though, because
it was everywhere.
You know how wart foams. We had this river. Our parking lot is 250 feet long. It's about this, looks like a football field of asphalt,
and it's surrounded
river
on all sides by buildings. So it's almost like a big bathtub in that sense. Like in other words, it's not just going to go down.
This is our first cool ship.
Yeah.
No, but it's just foaming up. We got this stream a couple feet wide, foam a foot tall. It seemed like sometimes 10 feet tall, and it's just flowing the whole length of our parking lot out to the gutter.
That's amazing.
And the worst part of it was just going around to all the neighbors. Apologizing
for the smell.
This isn't going to happen all the time.
And by the way, the flies that are going to arrive for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
We hosed the parking lot for about 3 hours just to prevent bugs from coming in and munching on all that good work.
Yeah, sticky and gnarly, right?
Yeah,
we were kind of downtrodden after that, and we're knocking out the rest of the batch into the fermenter, and half hour passes, and at one point I just kind of call across to the other side of the brewery. I'm like, "Hey, Alex." He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It's like, I was like,
accurate
you know what batch this was? And he was like, "Well, batch 13." It was batch 13.
I'm pretty superstitious, so that makes sense to me. It all makes sense now. It wasn't your fault, Alex. I take it back. It was not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
Yes.
It was
13's a lucky number if you're a Roman. If you're Italian, everything was fine.
He's neither of those things.
Shit.
Have you seen him?
No.
He's a pygmy.
He's a Lithuanian.
He's a Lithuanian pygmy. Alex is very small. He's a short man.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. We have cameras in here. My
almost as short as JP.
My deception doesn't work.
Right. And Justin.
Yeah. That's a pretty impressive disaster, man. Yeah. Now, how did you stop it at all? You say you lost 80 gallons. Was that the whole tank, or you were able to stop it?
We stopped it.
How?
Yeah.
I don't know. I blacked out.
A little bit later, I totally blacked out.
I think I just jimmied the valve that was previously bent, and it ended up working.
Well, you took off the bent valve, and then once we took off the bent valve, we were able to close the valve.
I told you I blacked out.
You blacked out.
I still have it in my desk.
Have you ever seen the?
Oh, that's true. We have a really gnarly bent valve.
Oh, you kept it?
Yeah, I kept it.
Frame that thing. Put it up on the wall.
Just
Yeah. You want one of those box frames?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the reenactment video that JP did? Reenactment of Mitch Steele plugging up his leaky bung, the leaky barrel.
No one's seen that.
It was
That's on an X-rated website.
No, it's on
RedTube.
it's on our
weird.
YouTube page, and JP really jumped into action. He was just emulating what Mitch Steele did, and it was his wiener. That plugged, the bung had popped out, and the wiener.
I plug bungs. That's a shirt that I want made.
I'm not. You can watch it
I
on the
plug bungs.
BrewingNetwork.com YouTube thing.
Right.
That's the other way around.
Just
YouTube /
Google. Put that in the Bing machine. Bing it.
Bing it.
Yeah. Bing Google Tube YouTube machine.
Bing the bung
or whatever it is.
Plug.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
So I'm
Thank you, Sir Jay.
You hired Kim, right?
We did hire Kim. Kim Shimke, our new.
I'm picturing Jay
media
looking at
manager.
Alex. Just, I'm going in.
I don't even think they spoke. He just went in.
And just dived
Man of
onto
action.
that.
Were you covered?
Alex is much more the I'm going in type of guy. He's the Eagle Scout.
We've heard
he
that.
climbs mountains. I'm like you do that, Alex.
You go, boy.
Were you both covered in wort? Like,
Yeah.
soaked through?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was wet.
Yeah.
Jay was wetter than most people around, but it was wet.
Can you clip
weird.
that out? Can someone clip that?
No, that's staying
Just
in.
play it over and over again.
Put it on a cart.
Wetter than most. That's another beer name. See, you guys need to come on the show more often. You're getting
It's
a
my
lot of
nickname
really
in
good
college.
names.
Wetter than most.
Yeah. Faster, too.
Right.
All right.
Moister than most.
I think I had some more questions here then.
I don't think they're relevant.
Are they
What's the
about moist?
temperature that you keep your barrel room? Is a question that came through from the chat.
Ambient. Next question.
That's true. It
Good
is.
answer.
It is
Thanks,
Berkeley
Jay.
ambient,
P.
and that's actually one of the main reasons we decided to start in Berkeley. Is because of the temperate climate.
Oh yeah.
So Berkeley year round kind of swings from the lows in the 50s to the highs in the 70s, but doesn't get too hot, which is great for barrel aging.
Does the warehouse swing along with that? A few degrees? How many degrees does it change?
It swings a little bit, but it's one of those things where we actually are, we have a lot of concrete. We have concrete floors, and 3 of our walls are also concrete. So that kind of buffers some big temperature swings going on. And even with that, too, you have the nighttime and daytime swings, and it takes a while for the actual temperature inside the barrel to change.
So how many degree swing are you guys okay with? And I mean then the liquid in the barrel. What's acceptable to you?
Yeah, so to take it a step back, when we were looking for a location, we looked all around the Bay Area, and a lot of places necessitated an AC unit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pretty strict.
like Concord.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
studio
Yeah.
in Concord.
It's lovely in
So
here.
ultimately, he realized it wasn't a good idea and moved somewhere else.
The hop grenade is very cool, and the beer is even colder.
Great.
But appropriately chilled.
Good. Thank you.
And
Jay's back. JP, you're out.
It's all right.
So, we're looking around. We're looking at different cities and AC units going in. And then we kind of looked at the ambient temperature in Berkeley. And there's this, fog. I think they actually call it the finger insert joke here.
Oh.
And
Or
it
the
comes
slot.
Okay, I call it
Is
finger.
it the finger or the slot?
It
I
can't
mean,
be both.
I think we should. It cannot be both. And I feel like
The
we should clarify.
The wind is the finger, and the area is the slot.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Okay, well, there's no doubt there's a
That's how
finger
big is your
and then
board?
there's a slot.
Okay, thank you.
And that's where we are.
In the slot.
With the finger.
Yeah, well, we're close to the slot. So what
The
happens
finger
is
heads right
how
up
big
Shattuck
is
Avenue.
it?
How big is the
Sorry,
slot?
camera. Where the slot meets the finger.
It's the size
Is
of
where
the
you
Golden
are.
Gate Bridge,
Yeah.
actually. So what happens is Central Valley gets really, really hot in the summer.
Yeah.
The air heats up, and it sucks in wind from all over California.
That sucks.
And one of the paths of travel is, starting in the Pacific Ocean with the cool air out there, goes right through the Golden Gate Bridge, which is the slot.
Okay.
And then that goes right through Berkeley, and the wind is still cool right there. So in the summertime right now, where it might be 100 degrees in Benicia or down in San Jose, maybe 100.
Yeah.
In Berkeley, it's
70.
keeping cool and 70. Yeah.
Okay. Still, how many degree swing is acceptable to
It's a
you
great journalist.
in the liquid?
You didn't answer my question.
Back to
And
this.
no, I
fabulous
didn't
quiz.
know that, and I've lived in the Bay Area since I was 17, so I didn't actually know that
You're
that
not
was
an
the
Eagle
reason
Scout.
it's happened. So I like that.
Yeah.
But I know our listeners want to know. Even my cellar at home, it's like half of a cellar. It's half underground and half not. And I know it stays more temperate than the rest of my house, but the degree swing out here, it's still a 15-degree swing. But I'm not fermenting beer like you are.
Right.
What are you comfortable with?
So what we're doing is, I'd say the coldest we get is 60 degrees.
Okay.
And the warmest we get is 80 degrees. And we live most of the year from 65 to 72.
Okay.
So we're comfortable with those extremes. Sometimes we don't like them, but it's to the point where do you really want to install an entire AC unit?
No, I understand.
To adjust a couple of degrees on the low end and the high end. And we just decided, this is really close enough.
But you're not seeing that in the liquid. In other words,
no.
I don't think you'd be comfortable with that kind of swing if that's what the liquid did, would you?
Over a year, those are recorded liquid temperature.
Oh, they are? Okay.
So
okay.
The hottest of the hot during the summer, 77, 78 maybe.
Okay, all right.
And then the coldest of the cold, 61, 62 during the winter.
What would be your ideal temperature you would want to see?
That's a good, right in the slot.
Right.
So I would say
98.
Somewhere in the upper 60s. Welcome to the slot. Upper 60s, lower 70s. I mean, that's a good sweet spot for Brettanomyces fermentation, because any lower, the Brett is just not going to be vigorous enough to get through a long secondary fermentation. It's not going to be rip-roaring.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to fall asleep.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, there are breweries. Let me compare two breweries. And I will apologize to these breweries for generalizing their sour beer making processes. But, you've got Jester King in Austin, Texas.
Love them.
Great beers, right? Very hot and very cool. New Belgium Brewing, Fort Collins. Pretty warm, pretty cool. I think they get down to a pretty cool temperature. And, from what I've learned from, Lauren and Peter, is that, they just say, it gets pretty cold here, but it just takes longer.
Okay.
So the great part about sour beer fermentation is that, done correctly, it can actually be pretty forgiving. I remember my first year at the brewery, we're in...
And just to clarify, when you say the brewery, you're not talking about your brewery. You're talking about the B-R-U-E-R-Y, the brewery.
Right, in
just
Orange
so
County.
our listeners know that
It's actually more specifically in Placentia.
Which is a weird
just
name.
as hot and sticky as it sounds. My favorite joke of all time.
How does it compare to the slot?
It's very similar to the slot.
Very similar.
A little stickier and somewhat bloody.
Somewhat hotter.
Disgusting.
Thank
you. Sorry, everyone at the Hop Grenade.
Since we started talking about the slot, the crowd has thinned 40%. I'm not joking.
They are looking in here a lot more.
Yeah. So
they definitely moved back away from the window.
Yeah. So my first year there, I mean, it was hot. I mean, we fermented sour beer in barrels during the summer. It was 90, 100, 110.
Wow.
At some point, and we stacked them up high.
Okay.
And I mean, when push comes to shove, though, you revisit those barrels, and it comes down to blending. So bad beers didn't make the cut. Great beers did make the cut. And we blended together a Flemish Red, and that went on to win, I think, 2 World Beer Cup golds and 2 JBF golds.
Okay.
I want to say it's Oud Tart, and that was a beer that was, barrel aged at pretty hot temperatures.
Yeah.
So number one, it comes down to blending, and number two, I think one thing that American sour beer makers need to get away from is a little bit is trying to copy Belgian techniques too much, because they're not the same. If we want to have the same, if there's some city in the United States that has the same climate, same microflora, and you want to do spontaneous fermentation and you want to age it through this many winters and this many summers, the same way the Belgians do, fine. But if you're looking to age the beer the same way that they do, but you're doing a Saccharomyces primary fermentation in stainless, and then you're adding Brett Lactopedio in a secondary fermentation, that's not the same. So let's try and figure out what works for us.
Yeah.
And not really let the Belgians be the Belgians. I mean, their beer is out of this world great.
Yeah.
But let's start figuring out how to make sour beer in the United States in different climates. And
if you're just tuning in, we're here with Brian Hunt from Moonlight Brewing Company. He's been hanging out with us all night and just talking about a beer in our region.
I mean, you got Goose Island, you've got Jester King, you've got Allagash, and you've got Russian River.
Yeah.
Can you get more 4 points? And then I'll throw in Anchorage, too. I mean, can you get more 4 or 5 points? Oh, and how about Cigar City? How about 6 points
6
of the
points
United
now.
States? Count them, 6 points.
Thanks, Warren.
I got it.
Glad you're here, buddy.
You want to add 7?
And they all
I'm ready.
make great
Agreed.
beer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
let's figure it out. Our climates, and I don't think they all have. Well, Russian River does have a temperature controlled barrel.
The barrel room, yeah, that's important. Temperature control to Vinny is important.
It's really important, and I don't want to downplay it.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that with blending and learning when to add what yeast and bacteria at what point in the brewing process, is very important.
So I like that you're narrowing it down like this, because that's what I wanted to do too. It sounds to me like it's not that temperature is unimportant, but for you, keeping out oxygen seems paramount. When you add the Brettanomyces or the other wild yeast as well, matters in what you're going to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
As well as how they react with the recipe itself, the ingredients that you're putting in. Those are more paramount to you than the temperature that it's actually fermenting at.
Yeah, that's right. But I'll always throw this caveat out. That's just what we've learned in a couple of years.
Okay.
So, and I wouldn't even say that's set in concrete.
Yeah.
We've talked about before how we try to disprove what we thought was real before.
Right.
That's all we're doing. I mean, we're just going to continue to do that, where we're not going to take for granted that, okay, this is a bedrock principle of making sour beer. We're always going to challenge our assumptions. We're always going to try something new. And that just goes into our experimental nature. If we're really all about sour beer, we have to be adventurous and make it an experiment and try a bunch of different things.
Okay.
That's brewing in the truest sense. Always challenging yourself, not just trusting what worked in the past, using your palate. Question.
Absolutely.
Which lacto culture has Rare Barrel been using? Spider Wrangler wants to know. Or do you sour mash your own?
We have not done any sour mashing. We've done a lot of primary fermentation with Lacto Del Brooklyi from Brewing Science Institute.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the one from Y Yeast, which I think is Lactobacillus buckneri.
Okay.
Brevis is good too. What we're getting a lot out of our primary fermentation with Brett and Lacto is a not too aggressive acidity. And that's kind of like we talked about before. That's not going to be a defining feature of us. We're going to have a lot more acidic beer. We're going to have a lot more funky beer, different barrels. But right now, we spent 8 months brewing with Brettanomyces bruxellensis from Dre Fontainen.
Yeah.
And that we got from Brewing Science Institute. And I'm sorry to all the home brewers out there. I don't think they sell to home brewers.
Okay.
But
Jay's out again, isn't he?
I think is Brett Claw close or something similar? Maybe.
I think it's close. I've heard sort of subjective differences from professional brewers.
Like it was taken or sampled at different times, or maybe isolated differently.
Yeah, and I know that Chad from Crooked Stave, I think, isolated a different Brett strain from Dre Fontainen, and that's like his CMY1 or however he classifies his yeast. So they are different. But I mean, if anyone out there is listening and they want to isolate a strain from our bottle, that's fine. We bottle condition with a wine yeast, so you can't just automatically take the dregs and put it in. But if you're capable and you want to isolate it out, it's in there.
Still in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you could also come scrape the parking lot of
yeah,
that's the cool shit.
That's the spontaneous beer. Yeah.
Just in you might get you gotta, there's 5W30. You have to split it out from that.
Yeah, there's patchouli and needles.
Absolutely.
A lot of used needles.
Yeah. We like to call it Brettanomyces berkeleyensis.
Yeah. You definitely have to split out the bum semen. Yeah. But once you do that, it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the beer in our glass now? I think I looked at the bottle, and it's a Pete Schlossberg tribute.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually our first collaboration. It's a beer called On the Shoulders of Giants.
Okay.
What do you think about that name, Jake?
It's long.
It is, yeah.
It's another,
but it's only like 8 or 9 words. Simple words. You know all these words.
So,
you can do it.
So is Schlossberg.
If I'm at who are the people that approve the labels? Is it the ATF or something? I forget who it is. But if I'm them, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm tired of you guys. I'm like, God, I have to read so much every time you.
Oh yeah.
If I feel like
with all of our beers, we're sending in a lot to the ABC. I'm sure they're tired of us right now.
Yeah, it's like reading
make some flagships, guys.
Yeah, every time they're like, hey,
labels every time you have a new beer.
I already read Twilight. Now I have to read your submissions every fucking time.
Yeah.
Now, below the name, though, there is a delightful caricature of Pete with Jay and Alex sitting on his shoulders, it looks like. Right?
Oh.
Who's the third guy?
That's Brad.
Oh.
Yeah, he's our third partner.
Oh, okay. He's not just a janitor or something.
No, not just a janitor.
Although he does clean up
we are
quite
the
a bit.
janitors.
Nice, yeah.
No, with this beer, it's our dark sour with sour cherries, and it's a collaboration that an idea about how to collaborate that Jay and I have talked about for a while. And On the Shoulders of Giants is a reference to Sir Isaac Newton quote, "If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants."
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that rings true with us because, there's, now there's 3,000 craft breweries out there. And there's all these people in beer who have done so much to get this information out there in terms of quality and standards. And teach us about beer.
Yeah.
To get here, we're not pioneering beer. Other people have pioneered beer. We're riding on their coattails. We're standing on their shoulders and using that information and just kind of grabbing it here and there from people who have these best practices that we think are great and we want to incorporate into our brewery.
Yeah. If I could just say, and you don't have to agree or accept this, you are pioneering beer. I like that you're giving homage to the people that came before you. I think that's important, and I think they also have they've clearly influenced you, and they continue. You guys are pioneering beer. You are too, but you're doing it. I get the point by standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah,
but make no mistake, you're pioneering beer. You guys are doing fantastic fucking sour beer.
And we take this kind of series of beers, and this will be a series of beers. We take it really seriously because, the first time I really came across Pete was when he was on the session.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Excellent.
Yeah.
I really didn't know that you could open a brewery that wasn't a brewery.
That didn't have a brewery.
Before that, and the way Pete talked on the show was it was riveting.
Awesome.
And it really opened both of our minds to what we could do, and we love sour beer, and that combined with the experience of doing this type of wort production at the brewery, really led to a lot of what we did. And just to kind of piggyback on that, the Brewing Network is also a place where we got a lot of inspiration. We heard a lot of great brewers talk about how to make great beer. And I mean, when I was listening to this as a home brewer, maybe a better home brewer, I would drive into the brewery in Orange County, 45-minute commute, listen to Brewing Network on the way there.
Nice.
Work for my 9-hour shift, listen to Brewing Network on the way back, going to sleep, listen to a podcast, going to sleep, dream about brewing, have weird dreams about JP.
Yeah, me too.
It was weird.
We've acted some of those out too. It's real weird.
So you listened into the placenta,
style.
you listened out of the placenta.
Back into the slot.
You listened on the way to bed.
Absolutely.
I like all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
BN has been a big part of the genesis of the Rare Barrel. And, even though, we're honored to be here with you guys today, we're standing on your shoulders.
Oh,
you're doing a lot.
That's a nice
to
way to say.
advance. I mean, it's true. The amount that beer has gotten better since you guys have been in business is staggering. Homebrew, professional brewers out there are listening. Home brewers out there are listening who are going to become professional brewers. That was me. That was me just a few years ago. So this whole series, including, leading off with Pete, who's been a great friend of ours, and we're actually eating chocolates that he made. And
Oh, yeah.
rode his bike across the bay today to deliver to us so you guys could have them.
Nice.
You know, that's
Pete's a good dude.
He's a great guy.
So he knows his likeness is on the bottle and everything. He knows all about this.
No, he's actually suing us right now.
He brought us chocolate, but we're being sued.
Yeah. The next series is standing on the shoulders of giant lawsuits.
Yeah, we actually can't comment on that at all.
I just sent him a pic. You guys are in trouble.
Yeah. But this is something that's really important to Alex and I, and that, you know, we're a couple of youngish guys, and we're trying to break into the Bay Area brewing scene. But we have to pay homage and say, hey, this area is the rebirth of craft beer. That's what happened here.
I have to clap to that. It is the rebirth of craft beer.
And there are people who came before us. We're an all sour beer brewery. Yeah. There's no fucking way we could do this if there weren't all these other people who came before us.
Yeah.
And that's what this series is about. So we're going to collaborate with people we want to single out.
Yeah.
And kind of let them come in, you know, have at it with our barrels, make their own blend, and then really tell their story over and over again and keep that going as long as we can.
That's a great tribute. That's
awesome.
a great way to give back to the people who have influenced you. That's awesome. This beer is awesome, too. And you mentioned that you would do more acidic beers in the future. Of the ones I've tasted tonight, and I'd love it if anyone chimed in on the flavor of this one. This one is the most acidic to me. And I don't know if that's because it's compounding from the other ones that we've had, or if it's actually more acidic. What do you think, Jay?
A couple of so this is a combination of two beers blended together. It's actually sort of similar to the base of Ensorcelled.
Okay.
It's a golden sour with a darker sour beer. Actually, the same dark sour base that's in Ensorcelled. Those two together created a nice acidity level. And then we added the sour cherries in a secondary fermentation.
Okay.
And that kind of kicked it up a notch.
Okay. I love this beer. It's world-class sour beer, guys. This is fantastic.
Well,
Very much so.
Pete blended this one with his family.
He did?
Yeah. Pete and Amy and Alex came in and they blended this beer. So we pretty much just kind of gave them free reign of the barrels and said, you know, what do you want to create?
We sat back in the Lazy Boys and said, here's the keys to the car. Go at it. And they made this beer.
Love it.
This isn't their first time, too, either. They worked with Armand out at Dre Fontainen.
Okay.
Way back, a couple years back. But he did a beer that was Armand 4, and they had the 4 seasons. And it was right after there was this big disaster in the brewery where they had a problem with the thermostat, and the thermostat broke. Something happened where the heater just went way too hot. And this was in their cellar where they had all the beer in bottles. And it got so hot in there that bottles started bursting, breaking. That was it. It was one of those things where this was, to Armand, pretty much game over.
Maybe the end of the business.
Wow.
End of the business, yeah.
Wow.
And Pete was out there, and he was talking with Armand, and he's like, hey, I'm having a grandchild. I was wondering if you'd be interested in blending a beer for this. And they started talking, and Pete, who's really got a knack for marketing, said, well, why don't you think about blending a beer that is your most special beer and using the proceeds from that to bring your goosery back online. And long story short, this idea basically transpired into Armand 4, and it could be attributed to one of the main reasons that we still get to enjoy the amazing beer coming out of Dre Fontainen right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Pete was part of the reason of that. And so
Pete's a smart guy.
That's just one part of Pete.
Yeah.
So there's.
Oh, we've seen all parts of Pete.
Yeah.
So
the other
I know
other
what
part
you're
of
talking
Pete,
about.
The other part of Pete is his chocolate side.
Right. The malt ball part of Pete is really good too.
Yeah. So we haven't mentioned that, but
it's in Warren's mouth.
The
right
creamy
now.
filling. It's not just the chocolatey outside; it's the creamy filling inside.
I don't care.
So we're going to release this beer at our tasting room on August 2nd.
Okay.
And Pete's going to be there, and he's also making chocolate-covered malts that we're going to be serving with the beer, if you decide to come.
If you should come out.
He'll be there signing your malt balls.
Oh. edible autographs. Love it.
That was questionable, but...
All right.
That was nothing else.
Real quick, we got to take a break.
Okay.
It's going to be our last break.
Good. I need a beer.
You know what's good about this is that we have tons more to talk to you about. I feel like we've scratched the surface because we've tasted so many beers. We've barely talked about how they're made. We haven't gotten into recipes yet. We haven't done any of that stuff. So I hope you guys want to come back soon.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm seeing like a regular guest thing happening here because we have too much to go through in one.
How about tomorrow?
So we'll see you tomorrow. But don't leave. Hang out with us. I got dinner ready for you guys out there too. So why don't you guys have a chance to eat?
The food here looks great.
Before we go to the break, we have some good food. We don't have much of it. We're like a small plate place. We're focusing on the
pretzels,
beer. But we got a little bit of flatbread and true Bavarian pretzels made by Bavarians. And
nice mustard.
It's a sweatshop, but they're Bavarian.
Can you call them Bavarian pretzels if they're not made in Bavaria?
If they're made by Bavarians, yes.
You can?
That's my philosophy. That's what I'm going for.
Brian Hunt disagrees.
He does. Yeah, that's right. All right, but real quick, let me know if you're interested in becoming as great a brewer or blender or beer aficionado as the boys from Rare Barrel. You might want to think about getting some beer education like you can get at the Siebel Institute. If you've ever thought of taking a professional live brewing course, the Siebel Institute has a contest just for you because maybe you can do it all for free. On September 26th, the Siebel Institute of Technology will conduct a drawing in which they will choose 3 lucky winners to receive a fully paid tuition in one of the amazing web-based courses that they have. Top prize will be paid tuition to the WBA Associate Program in Brewing Technology, giving one lucky student the ability to participate in an advanced level brewing tech program. There's no charge to enter at all. All you got to do is make sure you're signed up to receive the Siebel Institute newsletter before the September 26th draw date. Along with the chance to win one of these valuable courses, you'll receive updates about Siebel Institute events, services, products, including the wide range of workshops that they hold. I mean, it's a great way to just get brewing information online. So to make sure you're registered, visit the newsletter sign-up page at SiebelInstitute.com. Fill in your email address and enter the newsletter sign-up area. For questions regarding the contest, contact Keith Lemke. JP loves Keith like I do. The guy's a crazy man.
Yeah.
Contact Keith. It's K. Lemke at SiebelInstitute.com. That's KLEMCKE at SiebelInstitute.com. For information about our courses, visit the website SiebelInstitute.com. Enter. Why wouldn't you? It's free.
Right.
And you could potentially get the advanced course all online. You don't have to leave your home, so you don't have to leave the family or your job or obligations that you have.
But you can if you want.
You could certainly could if you wanted
You
to.
can check out right at your computer screen.
Yeah, just do that. Get paid for going to school.
Yeah.
Right.
You can come take your courses at the Hop Grenade if you want. We got free Wi-Fi.
Sure.
You can take your courses down here. So go to SiebelInstitute.com right now and check it out.
If you do email Keith, make sure you start off your email with Dear Big Nose.
Dear.
I want him to know that we sent them.
He'll know right away. He'll like, oh, JP sent them. Okay, that's perfect. All right, here's what we'll do. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to drink some more beer. We're going to do a little bit of beer news. We're going to bullshit with the Rare Barrel guys. But right now, go eat some pizza, guys. You've earned it. So hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back live from the Hop Grenade in Concord, California.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Whether I'm making me dry stout or rebuilding me kegs, I head to the heart of dear Dublin for me homebrewing supplies.
You head all the way back to Emerald Isle just for a wee batch of grain or a bit of keg tubing?
No, you moronic waste of liver. Dublin, California. I go to HopTech.
For 30 years, HopTech in Dublin, California has been supplying homebrewers with malt extract, fresh grains, hops, spices and sugars, hop oils and extracts, and much more. HopTech is one of the first homebrew supply shops on the internet and is proud to offer award-winning beer kits, both online and in their store, where they offer a 10% discount to all AHA members. The store is open every day except Wednesday, or shop online at hoptech.com anytime. Hoptech is run by passionate, award-winning brewers who live, love, and travel for beer and bring their experience to the store for you.
If you don't want to visit Dublin, just call toll-free 800-379-4677 or go to hoptech.com.
Visit Hoptech today in Dublin, California, and at hoptech.com.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring Monk's Blood. Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, Jim.
Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like AHA member deals that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and eZymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love, and access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your homebrewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
888-401-BEER. It's time to talk beer and chew bubble gum. And we're all out of gum. The Session.
That was a nice break. A lot of people out there partying in the Hop Grenade. It's cooling down outside, so the patio's full. I got to pat ourselves in the back about our patio. Our patio's badass. Got a couch and a lounge and a fire pit.
Anyone take a nap out there yet?
I
saw a vagrant earlier.
I did nap a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I sat down and got a little...
You've been here like 15-hour days the last 3, probably.
I got a little comfortable one of those days. And there's a couch right outside the studio, too, that I think is going to become the cot when we got to just stay overnight. That thing's pretty comfortable, too.
Outdoor space kind of doubles the overall space.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's nice. When it's not blazing hot out, we can open all the doors, and then the inside's just like the outside. It's pretty nice. So, all right, well, we're going to wrap things up. We got a couple more things to do. The Rare Barrel guys are still hanging out with us, Alex and Jay, and so we're still drinking some Rare Barrel beer. I'm drinking, Aquila, I ordered some beer from Aquila, and I actually didn't order a Rare Barrel because we had so much bottles in here, so I figured I'd get something else for filler and come and have some bottles, but she fucked it up, and she got me a Rare Barrel. Totally happy mistake. So now I have 2 beers. I have a Rare Barrel beer in front of me, and I've got the 2-1A Hop Crisis in front of me too. Nice odds there. But she was asking me how the name's pronounced, and she was saying like weird words, and I was like, "Is it agrarious? What do you agrarious?
Agrosity.
That's what she didn't know. Is it agrudity?
Agrestic?
Agrest? And I was like, "Are you saying agraria?" And then so I asked Jay. I was like, "Which one?" But it's egregious.
Which is actually, that's a word.
Which is an actual word.
Yeah.
Which I thought to correct with, but then she kept saying with the other R's in it. So I was like, well, it can't be egregious because that's sort of clear, like, is it spelling?
Equestrian?
It's equestrian, isn't it?
All of our words are words.
All of your, well, actually, I'm not sure that's true, that all of your words are words.
Ingressled?
What is it? It's egregious.
Egregious, yeah. It means shocking. It also means...
I know what it means, you asshole.
Yeah.
I just didn't...
I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's egregious.
It wasn't me that didn't know how to... It was Akila. I'm throwing her under the bus.
For the one person out there who doesn't know what egregious means, it means shocking.
Shocking.
And the reason we call it shocking is because it's a dry hopped golden sour. And it's shocking to have hops and sour in the same glass because when you add hops to the bittering part of the hop addition, you prevent microbial growth. And it prevents lactobacillus and pediococcus from souring the beer.
Interesting.
So that's why you really won't find too many beers that are hoppy. So with this one, we dry hopped it. We added it after the beer was finished.
Okay.
We added the hops to the oak barrel and let it dry hop for about 2 weeks. And this one, it's a funny story. It goes back to Lauren Salazar. With Lauren, she has made a beer at New Belgium called Le Terroir.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a beer that I had a couple years back and one that really just like blew my mind in terms of the flavors when I had it the first time. And I kept like poking Jay over the course of a year or two and just like
on Facebook?
No, in real life.
In
real life.
Oh, like in real life. Shit.
We're like, hey, we
those doors.
We gotta make a dry hop sour.
Oh shit.
And he's like, okay. And then at our launch party at City Beer Store, they had Le Terroir on, and that was all Jay drank.
Oh
the
yeah.
whole night.
So it took.
I like our beer too.
Jay, you're a little bit. You're a little bit like me. Is it like JP, Scott? Like all these guys have great ideas, and I don't listen at all until one day I go taste it or whatever. And then I come up with the idea, and I go, guys, I have this great idea.
Yeah.
Is to do that. And JP is always like, yeah, I said that fucking 2 years ago.
Yeah. I'll add that to the list.
Yeah, actually, this is the first time I'm hearing this story. I totally thought I came up with it.
Yeah. Jay, that was a great idea to dry hop a sour beer. I'm glad you thought
I told
of it.
Warren, and I was like, "Hey, Warren, I had a dream last night."
Yeah. And I bet you were thinking, God, if Alex could come up with ideas like this, we'd probably be doing a lot better.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't have to think of so many great ideas myself.
Carrying all the weight.
I gotta go look through a thesaurus to name a new beer.
Copying New Belgium.
Yeah, it was really Lauren's idea to come up with this beer.
So I just want to say I was making a joke in the beginning that the Hop Crisis is a great beer to have side by side to the sour beer, but it actually is. With the aroma of the egregious, you do actually get like kind of an IPA aroma out of it. It doesn't taste like an IPA, but you get this hop character. And then I sip a super hoppy Hop Crisis next to it. They taste great together. They actually complement a little bit. The hops come out of your beer even more.
I think that's one of the interesting parts about this beer is that you get hop aroma and hop flavor without hop bitterness. So it's a very different experience. Kind of the first couple sips will really kind of throw your mind for a loop when you don't get that bitterness in there.
And it's really fruity. It's got some melon to it. I know Warren, I brought you a few growlers of this, and you guys are enjoying this beer.
Speaking of big melon.
Yeah. Me?
Never mind.
Oh.
Good
Wait
one,
a
Warren.
second.
Good one, Warren.
My wife, who is very hop bitterness averse, the only beer style she likes is sours because there's so little hop bitterness traditionally used in them. And I was really excited when Jay came out with this beer, Egregious Dry Hop Sour. Be like, okay, you get to taste hop flavor, pure hop flavor, no bitterness. You won't it'll just be a sour, hop flavorful beer. And she had it, and she was like, "This is probably my favorite beer ever."
Nice.
And she punched you in the balls.
One IBU.
Yeah, but I couldn't feel it because you can't kill what's already dead. So,
Shout out to Candace.
She doesn't listen to the show. She's ashamed.
Still shout out.
I feel like now's the time to tell you about our great sponsor, Adam and Eve. You can go to adamandeve.com right now.
Because of a ball punching segue?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Don't
ruin the segue.
Don't pretend you don't think like I do, JP. AdamandEve.com. You can go there right now, and if you use coupon code BNARMY, that's BNARMY, and this counts for you out there in the Hop Grenade too. You can use this code and get all these discounts as well. You get 50% off just about any one item. You get free shipping. You get 3 free adult DVDs from genres, for example, such as ball punching.
Dylan Ryan's favorite.
I think. Yeah, they have. They don't choose separate. All 3 of their DVDs every time are ball punching.
Yeah, or I like to call it cup check.
Yeah,
that's the genre, really.
It's a new. There's other genres too. For example, Jay, genres such as
beard writing.
Is that
just me?
specific?
Is that just me?
Yeah. Well, it's a subheading under hipster. It's hipster, and then it's beard writing.
Curled, waxed mustache ride.
Tickle.
Yeah, I liked beard writing before it was cool. So.
Alex, a genre from you.
My favorite is Ponytail Express.
Great genre. Yes, absolutely. All right, so lots of 3 free adult DVDs, free shipping, and then an extra gift. So sensual that.
We can't utter it in public.
Yeah, we can't utter it at the Hop Grenade.
But you can say bukkake.
You can.
Jesus.
That you can say.
Let's go down the list of things we can say. Ready?
That's a genre. Right now, our GM Kevin out there is scrambling for the remote control with the mute button on it, which I gauge. I said, keep this in your pocket because you're gonna need it tonight.
He's doing it,
and
right
he's
now.
just he hit the mute button.
Holding it up.
Kevin,
So we can talk about tentacle porn now.
One last mouse taint before.
Kevin, you pussy.
I'm sorry, tentacle porn?
Tentacle porn.
mouse
yeah.
taint.
Actually,
Mouse taint,
speaking of mouse taint, you guys started off the show with saying, do these guys reject any names? Because you're making fun of our beer names.
Yeah.
And one of the
Wait, hang on. I have to finish real quick. AdamandEve.com. Go there now. Use coupon code BNARMY. Go ahead, please.
All right, sorry about that. Stepped all over your
You're good.
boundary.
No, it's fine.
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
We were about done.
So, you guys were talking about up top, do these guys, I'd like to see their reject names. And one of them actually was, it's on our list of names to name a beer, #mouse taint.
Oh.
No.
That was actually on the list?
That's
rejected.
I put it on the list, and it was rejected. But my whole thing behind this name.
Hear me out.
Hear me out, guys.
Spell out HASH, right?
No,
Did the TTB reject it, or did you guys reject it?
Jay and Brad rejected
Internal
it.
rejection.
Internal rejection.
That's a good name for a beer.
That sounds like a porn category.
Ooh, internal rejection. Trademarks the Rare Barrel 2014.
Fuck that shit. I already got my lawyer working on it right now. Dear
That's a
John.
classic Rare Barrel name.
But it kind of is in relation to some of the descriptors that we have right now for Brettanomyces.
Okay.
Right now we're describing the funky flavors in Brett as barnyard, horse blanket, mouse taint. They're all these things that we don't. It's in texts.
Yeah.
Mouse taint. That's
No,
the
it's not.
descriptor.
You guys invented that.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, no.
Wild brews.
Squirrel
Not
septum. It's a whole
How
genre.
is mouse taint in text?
Exactly.
You're kidding me.
And the thing is that all these descriptors that we use for Brett, or not all of them, a lot of them are not relevant to where we live.
Right.
We don't know what a barn smells like.
Well,
We
even
don't know what
but
mouse
we have
smells
mice.
like.
Right,
Yeah,
and you
even-
know what their taints smell like.
well,
I mean,
how
this
do you
place
get on
might
that
smell like a barn.
microscopic level? How big is a mouse taint?
It's really small.
You gotta really get in there.
You do have to really get in there.
Well, it tainted big smell.
I mean, Doc, I feel like we need your lab to figure out what the mouse taint is, even the size of it.
They're right.
Are we still
It's an
muted?
actual thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Mouse taint is a microbiological fault caused by spoilage yeast belonging to Brettanomyces and Decara and by lactic acid and Hilgardi Lactobacillus brevis.
JP's on Urban Dictionary right now.
So clearly they're talking about like tainting, like
Yes.
it's tainted, not a taint.
Not mouse genitals.
Not the taint of a
This
mouse.
is what we missed.
Everything.
This is what we
The
missed.
mice had been there, not the actual
taint
balls of the mouse.
Okay, so now we can use that as a beer name.
Hold on, not
now we can
technically
use
the
that
balls.
as a beer name.
Do you think Garrett
Interesting.
Oliver would really want the Rare Barrels tasting notes if
Now?
he knew what was written on them?
What a taint was?
Well, we'll find out. I think
Well,
he
the
did
thing is,
review
no one
of our
knows what a
beers.
mouse taint is.
Mouse
think
tainty
no one
is
knows.
You guys
mouse
do. You
cage,
described it.
mouse urine, popcorn, or corn chip.
Yeah, it's an off flavor.
Well, I think that.
So to summarize,
I think we're just going to have to expand that whole off flavor, kit you can get.
yeah, it's a mouse taint.
What's this
think you're
small
right.
section of flesh? Well,
There's a bunch of hair in there.
so it just smells like a rodent.
Is there?
Oh, we're definitely still on mute because otherwise everyone would be looking in here like, what the?
I think Dylan would be punching himself in the balls. He loves it so much, but he can't hear
Or
it.
in the taint.
That is his favorite genre.
I can't believe it only took one show to get us muted. Yeah. I might have to put in a
Sorry.
delay. I don't like us being muted. I would prefer a delay button where they
Because
can
you-
cut out like full minutes.
Yeah, because then you can't tell Kevin when we're not talking about
Or
balls
you just-
and penis.
Yeah, like how can I stop and go, hey, dude, we're done talking about mouse taints.
Who's in
Or
charge
you
here?
have a over mute
don't
button
know.
so you can unmute his mute.
You don't have a dump button on there?
Mute override? That would be bad. If I had mute
that's-
override, that'd be gnarly.
That's metagaming right there.
It's great.
Kevin
that
would quit.
we made it 3 hours.
We did?
That's an accomplishment.
Round of applause to us.
Oh.
All right. All right.
I refuse. I don't think it deserves a round of applause.
Hey, is Tasty still here? I haven't heard from him in seriously a long time.
We've been asking
Tasty's
that question for
omnipresent.
5 years.
Omnipotent, omnipresent.
I got laryngitis.
It's a tough crew tonight, guy. What did you do to
I got a
us?
few questions.
Jay,
Thank God, it's about fucking time.
Well, I didn't have a microphone.
Well, grab the microphone. What are you, new?
Yes.
I'm new to sharing a microphone.
By the way,
I see.
Tasty purposely didn't wear his Rare Barrel hat tonight.
So,
I'll throw that out there.
I did. I didn't want to I didn't want to be confused.
You don't wear the concert
With the stack.
shirt to the concert, Jay.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm a loser then.
Yeah, I got it in the car. I could rock it, but I decided not to.
Well, it doesn't have a bunch of stickers of himself on it yet, so.
So when you drive,
Even Tasty had to stop and laugh at that one. Come on.
well, about that.
All right, go ahead, please.
All right. Well, just first off, I'm a little butthurt about not doing a collaboration with. You came out with a ginger beer. You know, I'm known for ginger snaps, right?
See?
Heard about that already.
You know,
Some people have told me
that.
about that.
So you know, if you ever want to go a little
But
bit
I couldn't
stepper,
possibly comment.
I want to have cookies with your beer.
Oh.
I want to be one of those collaborations.
That's not a bad idea.
Hey, MySpace me.
All right. Secondly,
I wrote about it all in my live journal. I'm surprised you haven't read it yet.
Tell me when to turn the fax machine on, and I'll
Friendster.
get that memo.
all right. So traditionally, dry hop beers are the alcohol is a solvent, and dissolving the elements in the hops, right? Acid obviously takes the place. Has something to do with when you dry up in an acid beer, right? Like you're getting a different effect, right? Like a
I
grape
don't
juice,
know
for instance.
enough about dry hopping to comment.
Well, it just makes sense to me that since it's an alpha acid is an acid, right?
Yeah.
That it might be more soluble in an acid than it would be even alcohol.
I can imagine, yeah. So, acids, there are things that are more soluble.
Yeah.
Fats, there are things that are more soluble. Alcohols are things that are more soluble.
And you
but-
could be getting more different myrcenes than you would get typically with an alcohol dry hop.
Not just acid, but pH, you think, too?
Yeah, could have
Tasty?
could have a pH. Yeah, or
Warren?
even lower the pH.
Well, one thing I've been learning / kind of researching recently is the pH change of dry hopping, and it seems like dry hopping actually raises the pH at a certain level. The more hops, like pounds per barrel, you add, or however you want to measure it, the higher that goes, the higher the pH will actually jump up. Which I'm not necessarily sure that there's no real explanation.
That's probably not what you want at that point either.
Right, exactly. For a acid or for a sour beer, you might not want the pH to go up really high.
Well, there's also something that Warren and I were talking about before the show, which is the pH of a sour beer can go up, maybe from a hop addition, but that doesn't necessarily mean it affects the acidity or the perception of acidity. So you've got pH versus total acidity versus perception of acidity, and they're all different things. And I've had way too many beers at the Hop Grenade to possibly comment on that.
You're doing fine. You're doing great. So is Beardy, by the way. You're doing fine. Don't look at me like that.
I'm doing fine.
You're my boy, Blue.
I got your back.
I got your taint.
Hashtag.
I got your taint. I got it. You want it back? You want it back?
There you go. All right.
All right, so
Smells better, too.
Go ahead, Tasty.
Just to clarify, you guys have never done a Saccharomyces ferment?
We've never done a primary Saccharomyces fermentation. I mean, I've done it before, but not at the rare brew.
Not the rare brew.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Soon, probably within the next month, actually.
And when you do that, will you use a Belgian type yeast?
I'm actually going to try to use 001 to start. And then, so we're going to do a large batch into our new 100-barrel fermenter.
It's pretty ballsy, a test batch.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Tainty.
Yeah.
He's going to go balls deep,
We prefer
right?
that.
You'd have no room for your taint with that
Very
many
tangy.
balls.
I mean, yeah, we do go pretty bold on our experiments, but we're going to do a 100-barrel batch with Saccharomyces, which, I mean, for me, that's not that.
No, that's not that. You're not outside the box.
It's been a long time. Maybe
There's nobody in Berkeley doing 100-barrel batches with ale yeast.
Well, if we mess it up, we'll just sell it to the Hop Grenade.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
And just, but can you just make sure that on the TV screen, the keg is in red?
Yes, that's how
it's going to sell like crazy.
Right.
It's going to be like hotcakes.
And also, it changes the perception of flavor, too.
Absolutely.
Like, they're like, well, it's flashing red. It must be good.
Yeah, this tastes red.
Yeah. Doesn't taste like mouse taint.
But yeah, we're going to do a 100-barrel batch of sack, and then we're going to siphon it off and combine it with actually different barrels that we have already in the secondary. So let's say we got 100 barrels, and then we're going to do 25 of the primary with Saccharomyces, and then with two oak barrels of, this Brett Lacto PDO. And then that's going to be one beer, and then it's going to ferment in a secondary. And then we have, another 25 barrels of the Saccharomyces, and that's going to be with this Brett and Lacto. And that's going to be a different fermentation. So we're going to split it up and try some new things and just continue to be experimental and just continue to try to learn.
And so are you going to...
I feel like that was like an ESPN post game, and we're just gonna, I'm just gonna do my best.
Force center, teamwork.
Justin, I'm just gonna take it one fermentation at a time, and I'm gonna rely on my other brewers to help me out. And I'm all
it's
about
really
the
a team effort.
I'm really all about the team.
We just got to go play our game. That's just all we got to do.
That's all we can do.
We all put 110% in. It was good.
Well, you might. I do 111, but that's just me.
Well, first I want to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that was Italian. I was trying to do
Italian?
I wanted to do the cross thing, but
Yeah.
it's not good radio, so
And that's not good radio either.
Oh, it's terrible.
It just sounded like you had an aneurysm.
Jesus. And Justin's dead.
Yeah, clunk. There we go.
That's good
Explaining
radio.
it is
We're all
going really
free.
well on
It's
radio.
really going awesome.
The explanation is, however, great radio.
All right. I'm doing 4 things over here, and what I want to tell you about is the Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival. This has been going on for a couple of years now. They do a good job over there in Pleasant Hill. It's right next to Concord. It's like Pleasant Hill's like classy Concord.
It is?
Yeah, because you have Walnut Creek, which is another thing.
Yeah,
and Pleasant Hill's like the
yeah.
interim, and then you get to, if you go from Walnut Creek, you need the buffer that is Pleasant Hill in order to accept Concord. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
You think it'd be culture shock?
It's just like you need Concord before you can get into Martinez. Like it's a whole, it's a filter system.
It's the realistic goal for people who grew up in Concord. They'll never get to Walnut Creek.
So they think about Pleasant Hill.
In Pleasant Hill.
Beardy makes a really good point.
It's like when you're diving too deep, you have to come over and get the bends. You gotta acclimate properly.
And Beardy hasn't even lived in California for that long, and he understands that Pleasant Hill is a reasonable goal.
He was born in Santa Cruz.
It's like a fish ladder. It's like a fish ladder. Some just aren't going to make it.
All right, but the Pleasant Hill Brews and Brews Festival is upon us. Enjoy a day of beer tasting, delicious food, and free music at the 5th Annual Blues and Brews Festival. It's Friday, July 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. and Saturday, July 19th from 12 to 6. So it's 2 days at Pleasant Hill Park. Craft beer tasting is Saturday only. So if you're into the beer thing, you can only go Saturday. VIP access, 12 to 5 is $55. Be the first in the tasting tent. Specialty beers will be poured. Advanced purchase only. So general admission 1 to 5, wristband only $35 in advance or $45 at the door. Tasting ticket holders are allowed access to the tasting tent only. So you got to have your tasting ticket if you want beer. Otherwise, you're just in the free music end. Friday night pre-party concert, Friday, July 19th, featuring music by Lumberyard. Food, beer, and wine available for purchase. 6 to 9 p.m. Go check it out. The Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival. Just Google Pleasant Hill Blues and Brews Festival, and that's how you'll go get tickets to the fest. It's coming up on Friday, July 18th from 6 to 9, and Saturday, July 19th from 12 to 6 p.m. Thank you.
Lumberyard is my favorite porn cover band.
Are you sponsored by Bing tonight?
No, I just want to change the vernacular. You know, why is everything Google? Why isn't it Bing or Ask Jeeves or Go Fetch?
The same reason.
You're so good at losing battles. Come on,
right?
Because the same reason it's Kleenex. They did it best first.
I'm gonna Yahoo.
Right. See, Warren has it. Warren has it right, and I would argue that is better. I'll Bing shit all day long, dude. I don't care.
I love Nathan's description. It's so accurate. You're so good at picking arguments to lose. I mean, why does it have to be Google? Like, what did they ever do?
I mean, why the color blue? Why can't we just make it some other color?
What did they ever do besides perfect the search engine?
Hey. So they're the best company to work for. Who gives a shit?
Hey, I would argue they didn't perfect it. They just conned everybody. See, I'm gonna go on InfoWars next week. I'm gonna talk about all this,
and you will lose that as well.
Hey, you never know. I'm just trying to say the other side is potentially could be better, and you don't know until you look for yourself.
Don't you ever get exhausted from the losing side of the battle?
He doesn't have enough.
That's why I had to. That's why I had to sell my handgun. I just it's too tempting.
Yeah, actually, yes. All right.
You need more things to get fed up about,
sir. Trust me, I can't talk about them now.
I can't even.
Essential.
Oh Lord. Okay. How about we do some beer news? What do you think about that?
Yes.
All right. Beer news is brought to you today by Homebrew Stuff.
Well, it's the Brewing Network's Beer News, brought to you by homebrewstuff.com.
Yeah, so Homebrew Stuff, back sponsoring the beer news. Love those guys. All right, well, so the Major League Baseball's All-Star Game is tomorrow.
That's upon us already?
Yes, it is. And there's a lot of attractions at the All-Star Game, obviously, in the Home Run Derby and the game. And now you can add beer to the list. The Twins, Minnesota Twins, the stadium where the game is being held this year, they unveiled a self-serve beer station that the team spokesman Chris Less said is the first of its kind in Major League Baseball. Station allows fans to purchase a card for amounts of $10, $20, or $50 to use at the machine. One of the stations was installed last Sunday before the Twins-Yankees game. Another one was just added for the All-Star game. And they're at the main concourse level, so for the bulk of the crowd. And there's 4 beers available for purchase at the stations. There's, brace yourselves, guys. Bud Light, Shock Top Lemon Shandy.
Oh,
but now they
craft beer.
They got Goose Island 312 Urban Pale Ale on the list, though.
I can't believe that this story is true. I feel like you're playing Find the Fake. It seems very un-American that we would be allowed to self-serve ourselves beer in public.
It is weird. I mean, and there is a movement towards everyone doing everything themselves now. Like, you're your own cashier at the supermarket.
Oh, I like that.
Right? You don't hand your card to anybody any longer.
No, I hate,
When you've been under 500 for years, you'll do anything to get people to show up at your ballpark.
Ouch, that's a Minnesota joke.
But
I used to live there.
But even with your example, Scott, and I don't know if this is in every state, but in California, the self-serve station at the grocery store, it used to be that you could swipe beer too, and there would be a rep there who would, I verify that you're 21. Now you cannot bring alcohol to the self-serve station because the unions lobbied. It was a way for them to get their jobs back.
Yeah, you're right, and that was just maybe like October of 13, just last year. That's true. And there's something similar happening here too. You would think the service stations are going to eliminate the need for an employee to pour the beer, but they're going to do sort of the self-checkout thing. There's going to be an employee at each station checking IDs, and the sales there are going to end after the 7th inning, just like the regular sales. But it's just another movement towards do it yourself.
Other countries have just beer and vending machines. You just and now with the rise of craft cans, can we just have a vending machine with good beer in it?
Yeah,
isn't there
tasty crack cans?
Yes.
Canadian vending machines where all you do
Vending?
is sing the Canadian anthem?
Yes!
And they unlock?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I feel like yes.
Yeah.
Well, how do they?
Oh no, we did have that in one of our news.
Age
Didn't
at those.
we? You have to. It's a tone in your voice. Your balls have to have dropped for it to read a certain frequency.
A lot of those you have to put your passport in, and it scans your
that's
passport.
right, exactly.
Pretty soon, all the
See,
categories.
what's wrong with that?
All the categories
because
on
it's
Adam and Eve are
Molson.
going to be self-serve.
Yes.
You're done.
That is my favorite category.
I'm pretty sure that right now all the categories on Adam and Eve are self-serve. If you think about it,
That's what they're
that's
This whole thing sounds like it's going to be self-overserve.
I read that. Yeah, does it shut down after the 7th inning?
Yeah, it does.
Fuckers.
But I mean, you can drink as much as you can. Till
Sometimes it's a long game after the 7th inning. I
That's
think
when you
that's
hit
a
the flask.
stupid rule too.
Well,
who said that? Jay? Good call. See, I
didn't.
wish I drank liquor, and I don't. But you're right. If you can stash a little flask in there, that's how you get past the 12th inning.
Yeah, or you can just go half a day without drinking. I don't know.
JP, that's
Pick a better
ridiculous.
sport to like than baseball.
Right? Yeah.
That's also ridiculous.
Most people just wake up after the 5th inning and go, "Oh, this is a short game."
All of those are ridiculous. Carry on, please.
Well, you know who doesn't use a flask is James the Beast Nilsson. He's beer only. You guys heard of the Beer Mile? You ever heard of this race, the Beer Mile?
No.
It's gained some. Yes, Doc has. It's gained some notoriety. It's an athletic event that tests the limits of digestion, they say. What you got to do is you chug 4 beers and you'll run a mile. You basically run a lap, you chug a beer. You run a lap, you chug a beer. Put $1 in, I want a car. The world record is 4:57. If you guys can do it faster than that, you break the world record. And last month, this guy, James the Beast Nielsen, honored the 60th anniversary of the first sub 4-minute mile run by shattering another record. No one thought 5 minutes was breakable for the beer mile, but this guy did it by a full 3 seconds. It started on college campuses in the 80s, they say, but it's grown into an underground phenomenon, this beer race. Thousands of people, professional athletes even, have sought to be the fastest, chugging a beer, running a lap. But this guy, 4:57, he's catapulted the obscure sport onto a larger stage. He's got more than 1 million views on his YouTube video of the feat. He's 34 years old. He's a sales exec. He was a competitive runner in college, and now
he's just a drunk. I don't really get it. Well, I don't understand the concept. So it's running a mile after chugging a beer, and don't puke.
Every lap.
Yeah.
You gotta chug a beer.
Right. You do a lap, and then you chug a beer, and then you do a lap. So it's in between your laps you chug a full beer.
They used to do
Four
this
full
on
beers,
the
4 full laps.
They used to do this on the beach in Huntington Beach.
Oh, yeah?
And there was much more glory in the vomiting
Than there was of the time.
than the finishing.
Yeah.
Yes, it was actually whoever got the best vomit actually made the local news.
I think I would vomit. I'd probably vomit. But JP, you're really good at chugging.
I'm bad at running.
Yeah.
Right.
I would vomit running a lap.
Yeah.
At the end of the lap.
No beer involved.
Yeah, with or without the
Right,
beer.
no beer.
Right.
Running the lap.
Interesting.
Well, with his 1.2 million and change views on YouTube, his sudden fame has come with a price. There's all sorts of questions being raised about the record setting by beer milers. They're examining the video like the Zapruder film. Online forums are rife with people accusing him of gaining an unfair advantage, perhaps by defizzing the 4 cans of Budweiser he drank. Others are questioning why he didn't flip the can upside down above his head to prove that he had completely drained its contents, as custom demands. But for now, he owns the record. It's official.
Oh,
I can't imagine something more boring to watch than a guy running.
Yeah. Well, hearing about it.
World Cup.
True, that's also true.
World Cup might be boring.
That was an exciting game. Shut your face.
Hey.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, well, just to discuss you before we go on to one more story, a little further, there actually is a race called the Ben & Jerry's 4x4 in which
All
competitors must down 4 pints of ice cream.
Bevo.
Bevo's all about this one. Covering 4 pints of ice cream.
Bevo Barrymore from Pittsburgh, California, actually won.
It's 4 pints of ice cream and 4 miles.
Oh,
No.
how do you? And it takes 4 hours.
The record is 66 minutes, just over an hour.
Where do you charge your lark at the halfway point?
That sounds
Because
good.
if you can eat 4 pints of ice cream, your knees can't sustain your weight. There's no way.
Yeah.
I love me some
All
ice
the
cream.
weight on the cankles.
Cankle weights.
Those scooters can support a lot of weight. They're
Anything
giving away
else
now.
in the news?
Yeah, let's
please?
do one more. There's a brewery called Odd 13. They're in Lafayette, Colorado. Another sort of a name change thing. They have to change their name of their Hanuman IPA after a Hindu leader from Nevada said using the deity's name on a beer was highly inappropriate. Rajan Zed, the founder of Universal Society of Hinduism in Reno, called for the name change in a press release.
All right, can we stop there? I mean, that's enough, right?
Screw it. That's the news brought to you by homebrewstuff.com. Go to homebrewstuff.com/promotions and support our friends over there at Homebrew Stuff. They got all sorts of, they got a JP oatmeal stout kit. So if you are a masochist in your beer making, go try JP's oatmeal stout recipe at homebrewstuff.com.
There you go. All right, also in the news, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but fuck you. Stop calling me.
Leave you no pick up. I like that guy.
I don't want to.
He's in Israel. Let's hear the bombs falling.
No, that wasn't
Scott
him.
likes this guy, so therefore, pick up.
Sorry, that was me.
You mean the Iron Dome working?
That wasn't him, and now I have to kill Skype because I have audio to play, but we're on the same thing here. So, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but JP's cat went missing recently. What's the name's cat? Bukaki?
Saki.
Yeah. So, Saki went missing, for 6 days.
4 of those I was out of town, so I didn't really know.
You weren't quite sure.
Right.
So I heard 6 days, and I was worried. I saw this on the social media outlets.
Yeah. Well, you got to put it out there if your shit's missing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was very concerned. And then I was so happy to hear that the cat was back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And so but I was left thinking, I wonder what happened to the cat during the 6 days. And wouldn't you know, NPR reported on the missing Saki this week.
What?
So, yeah, absolutely.
I love news reports about my cats.
So here we go. Let's find out what happened to Saki.
Okay, let's do that.
You're listening to All Things Considered on NPR. I'm Brink Heidelman.
I know who you really are.
This week, Sylvia Poggioli takes us to the streets of Concord, California for a fascinating story about one cat's journey to hell and back.
It was tough.
I can only imagine.
Connor's side of the yard?
Fart news.
Well, here's where the darn thing must have gotten to the trap I specifically set for him.
Larry, Daryl, and his other brother Daryl found Saki, an apparently feral and deranged cat, in a makeshift cat trap that was placed in their garage by mistake.
Yeah, that's when I knew we was gonna have us a real nice time.
The cat's owners, Jason Petros and Taryn Howes of Concord, California, a city in the tiny San Francisco East Bay, located just a few miles from AT&T Park, asked that their identities would be kept confidential.
Well, the first time we took him from the cage, my brother, he used that darn cat to mop up the bathroom floor.
What happened next to Bukaki the cat was nothing short of amazing.
You see, my brother's a little bit incontinent. Well, next thing he knows, the cat starts taking a liking to it.
But that was only the beginning.
We started to realize that we had trouble in our hands when that darn cat got into Daryl's van, started it up, and then just drove off.
That's right, the cat drove off in a van. 5 days later, the owners, Jason Petros and Taryn Howes, found their cat and his new feline aids. I'm Sylvia Poggioli for NPR News.
That's the whole story.
That's craziness.
Now you feel better now that you know what happened in the interim?
I do.
The cat wiped up feces for 6 days.
Apparently. Into some shit.
But nobody minded.
No. Well, why would they?
Including the cat.
Well, why would he?
But Bukaki's now safe, right?
He's safe, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to NPR.
Yes.
And what was the reporter's name?
I don't remember.
Egregious.
Sylvia Plath.
I think it was egregious long beer name.
Egregious.
Ensorcelled.
Oh, wow.
I'm reporting for NPR. Egregious ensorcelled. Yeah.
Shadows of their eyes.
I was worried about it, so I reached out to NPR and they followed up.
Oh, well, I apprate that. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
It's
All right.
a little exciting for NPR, though.
Right.
It was.
I was riveted.
I almost stayed awake for the whole thing.
Well, at least JP and Taryn were left. It was all confidential.
That's right.
All right. Let's take a phone call from Aaron Gardner, who won't stop using Skype. Aaron.
Turn your radio up, Aaron.
We sound really cool.
Yeah. Aaron, what's up, man?
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Yes.
What do you want?
Hey, Aaron, what's happening, man?
It's Theo Brew.
Oh, Theo.
Yeah, we know.
Why don't you put your real name on your Skype?
But because I made this like years ago before I was Theo Brew.
How is ministry going for you?
I'm working at Disney. You knew that.
Slow clap.
Evo, please.
What?
Jay, don't encourage him.
That's JP's kind of ministry.
Yeah, the Ministry of the Mouth. Motherfucker.
Are you in Europe?
Yeah, Theo Brew drives the monorail at Walt Disney World, man.
Are you kidding me?
No, I swear to God.
That scares the shit out of me.
I love it.
If anyone can crash the monorail, it's fucking Theo Brew.
Actually,
It's on a track. Yet you can still crash it.
Exactly.
Theo, wasn't that your park where it got shut down for like 90 minutes the other day because it got struck by lightning?
Yeah, that was us.
Was that your train?
Right.
No, I wasn't driving.
That's too bad.
So, how are things?
What
do you want?
I'm drunk. That's
Oh, are you trying to be the first drunk of the week from the Hop Grenade?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
There's a gas leak. Don't worry about it.
I've had lots of the beers.
Which ones?
The ones with flavors.
I'm in a new apartment, and literally my fridge has beer and nothing else in it.
Oh, you moved out of the monastery.
And
then.
my boyfriend's penis.
You moved out of the Catholic
Those two
Church.
things.
The fridge has lots of beer and
It's not
semen.
attached to him. It's in the fridge.
And frozen livers.
Wait, are the speakers on again?
No, frozen liver will be food.
No, I don't think so.
Literally just beer.
Nobody can tell. There was a look like they heard me say semen.
Looks so natural, no one can tell.
Somebody, when you said beer news, somebody I heard outside, beer news.
Oh, now they're going to get to the good stuff.
The most
I think we should
interesting
turn it
thing
back
about
on
beer
now.
news is Bukkake the cat.
Yeah, see, I think so too. It was a harrowing
I know
experience.
about Bukkake.
All right, Theo, what have you had to drink? Let's do this. We're going to go for it.
I've had a full
Matt,
6-pack
Charlie,
of High Life. No, which is not High Life, but High Life, which is the Cigar City IPA at 7.5%.
Yeah.
Steve was my favorite.
Nice pineapple taste.
And I've had half a 6-pack of Founder's Porter.
Sort of tasted like a goes.
It was
I'm sorry,
salty.
Gary. That's what his name was.
Go on.
And
Actually, start over.
A little too much coriander there, or what?
Can I laugh off camera?
what?
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Theo.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm drinking.
You
I drinking.
Hashtag I drank.
snorted.
All right, Theo, you are the first ever drunk of the week from the Hop Grenade. Yeah.
You score.
You win something.
Well done.
Maybe. Sure. He turned into Blobber suddenly.
You won. You're the winner.
That was hard.
This is going to go down and hit.
He's elated.
Don't make a joke, JP.
JP,
Do not make a
just
joke off
leave that
Too
one.
easy. Do not make a joke off that.
Oh, man. All right. Well, sir, you're the first ever Hop Grenade drunk of the week.
I can't wait till I can be in person.
Hey, neither can we.
Right. Me too.
Or
It
Steve.
will happen soon, I promise.
All right, brother, come see us. We'd be happy to meet
I
you.
will.
All right, Theo Brew, ladies and gentlemen, your first ever drunk of the week live from the Hop Grenade. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. You only called 11 times. We were getting another, there's another guest on...
Who's going to drink that beer over there?
Which one?
The one that's been there for 4 hours.
It's been there the entire show.
That's been here since before 5:30.
Jay, I think you're drinking it.
I don't think so.
The head retention has been awesome.
I think that's Doc's beer.
Is that Doc's beer?
Doc's
It did
beer.
get placed in front of Doc.
No, it was here when I walked in. And there's nobody.
That's what they all say.
Doc smells citrus hops. He's like, I'm not touching that thing.
It smells like cat piss or mouse taint or whatever you want to call it.
There's a warm beer that
mouse
needs
taint.
drinking.
We can just pass
Oh, it is
around.
warm, too.
Of course it is.
Do we know what it is?
I think it was just poured 4 minutes ago.
Plus 3 hours.
Oh, it's terrible. Because it just...
It has everyone's funk has fallen into it. Think
Well,
about
that and it's flat, so and warm, so it tastes like wort. Like,
Yeah.
it just tastes like wort.
Like non-sugary wort.
It tastes like rare barrel beer before it becomes beer. Right? This is how
Or rare.
Parking lot pour.
this is how Beardy gives it to them. Could you guys just quickly turn this into amazing sour beer? Isn't that how it works? Like we give you sugary water and you make amazing sour beer?
Can you anoint it?
Yeah. That's the rarest barrel.
Yeah.
Right there.
No.
The rarest barrel is the one that doesn't exist.
That's not how it works. Maybe you guys aren't that good then.
Beardy
No.
has to produce it first.
Well, someone else has to do it first, yeah, for like 4 years, and then they learn how to do it, and then they do it. Isn't that what we learned on the show?
Yeah, that's pretty much accurate.
All right, great.
We are not original.
All right. I think we're about done here.
We have feedback.
Yeah, but I don't really want to do it.
No.
What?
Either way.
How do you feel about that, Doc?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
There's some good feedback portions of it.
Is there a banjo bed, or do we not even have that?
You gotta sing it.
Yeah, I missed that last week. I listened to the show, and so I think Scott chimed in with a, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And I could tell it wasn't the real thing.
You could,
but I appreciated it.
I thought I do a Dead Ringer Cartman.
We could all do
Don't
the
I?
acapella, maybe, if you don't have it.
I guess I could read it.
Well, yes, you could.
There's
if you
just
wanted
one?
to.
I'd rather go out there and drink beer.
Yeah, let's do that.
JP's been doing a lot of stuff over here, and he hasn't been reading
on.
any of it.
5 minutes.
This is my first time here, and it's like JP's like copying and pasting a Word document,
Yeah,
and he
see,
hasn't read any of it.
You're seeing what JP does. That's just what he looks very busy. There's a lot of things going on.
I'm binging a lot.
Meanwhile,
of
there's nothing that actually occurs
Like,
out of all that
there's all these
activity.
Twitter comments, and he hasn't read any of them.
Well, they're not actually they're just from random Twitter comments that I like.
He's texting.
I don't know how to
So
use
it's your
favorite.
journal, or
Yeah,
what?
it's my blogging journal.
Okay, I'm just
I'll bing
texting
it.
other hot boys.
On MySpace.
That's how it works.
I'll bing it later.
So,
I do have somebody on Skype. You guys remember Levi? He called in. He's one of our homebrewers of the week recently. He's in, where's he at? In
Israel.
India?
No, Israel.
Israel.
Syria?
Same difference. Israel. And apparently, like, bombs are dropping on him
there's
as we...
trouble over there, apparently.
Levi, what's happening?
How's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on in Israel? Is it gnarly over there right now?
Incoming.
From
you're right,
from
I
the
can hear him.
news, you would think that there was insane, but honestly, in my area, there's only been like 5 sirens.
Oh,
that's
all. Been,
only 5.
Yeah, just 5.
It's like my ghetto neighborhood. You're cool.
Can you imagine if we heard a siren in Concord? We would all shit our pants.
Yeah.
What happens in Israel? You guys just hang out and drink beer still?
Yeah.
He's dead.
Oh,
there you go.
That was quick.
He died on air. He's our first on-air death.
That was good.
Oh, I did lose him. It says Skype is telling me there's a problem with the call. Clearly, he's dead.
He was a good man.
Yeah,
He had a lot of good things to say in this
I
segment.
came to love him over that short time.
Well,
Well, let's
amazing.
take a moment to remember Levi.
We learned a lot from him.
He went on
It was
top.
amazing.
He's still here.
I'm
He was
glad-
home brewer of the week,
no, he's
right?
not.
I'm glad he took the time.
Another victory for Hamas.
Levi, are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, he's here. Oh,
Sorry
good.
about
Woo,
that.
that was a close call.
I take it all back.
You're okay.
We already started a collection.
So, what's happening? Are you safe?
I'm safe. I'm safe, but it's pretty intense, you know.
What's happening? Explain that to me. What do you mean by intense? What's happening?
When the air sirens go off, you have in my area, you have about 90 seconds to run for shelter. But I think the hardest part is explaining to my kids what's going on.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 boys.
And so, what do you do when the sirens
8
go
and
off?
10.
8 and 10. So you just tell them. What do? You run? Do you have a basement? Do you guys run to the basement or something?
I don't have a basement. A lot of places have like a fortified room. But growing up in California, with all the earthquakes, we learned how to run drills. Get in a place without windows, not a lot of stuff on the walls, so like a stairwell. So we just run to the stairwell.
It's kind of crazy.
He messaged me earlier and said that to chase the Palestinian blues away, he's brewing. He's actually managed to get a batch going, even despite the air raid sirens.
Do you turn off the burner when you run for shelter?
No, actually, you get that 90-minute boil going on. So,
You can't stop that once it's going.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
No, beer's not bombs.
Wow.
Well,
brewing
This
hero.
is probably the most intense homebrewing environment I think we've heard on the show.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. My mom used to get on my case a lot when I did it.
What
so.
about oxygenating? Because that's only 60 seconds. If you start and the siren goes off,
you're fucked.
Sorry, you've reached the beer show.
You're going to over-oxygenate that shit.
Now you're
ruined.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours wasted or something.
Yeah, I got to figure
go,
that out
Beardy.
for next time for sure.
Way to cut the ice.
How long has this been going on? I don't watch the news.
About 50 years?
Your lifetime, I'm
More
pretty
like
sure.
2000.
Yeah, tell your kids what your father told you.
Yeah, isn't it the same?
These fucking Palestinians are nuts.
No, because he's an expat. That's why his kids were born in the States,
Oh,
right?
there you
And
go.
now
Yeah.
they're over there, and
I see.
Yeah, they're going, great, Dad, thanks.
Yeah, I've only been here-
Can we move back to
I've
the
only
greatest
been
country
here
on
5
earth yet?
years. The last time my area had air raid sirens was the Gulf War.
Oh, really? Wow. So this is new to you. Yeah.
This is very new to me, yeah.
And you're still there because... Why?
I'm a doctor. I got to help people.
Yeah, the Hippocratic Oath, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll still go
You're
to
so
heaven.
much better than us.
You'll be fine.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's really an angry crowd tonight. Like, the guy's getting bombed. He's trying to homebrew. He's talking about how his kid, it's hard to talk to his kids. And you're just shitting on every answer that he has.
He's being serious.
He's way better than us.
Absolutely. A doctor is helping people because he's compelled to help people despite, he really, truly is a much better person than we are.
I've given up trying to be as good of a human as this guy is.
That's this man.
So
I retire
I'm glad
from
he's
human.
in the world.
Yeah. Good for you.
Well, I don't blame JP. He lost his cat. So.
No, the cat's fine. The cat came back.
That's fine.
He stole a van, but he didn't get caught, so he's back.
A little worse for the wear with the HIV positive now, but he's back.
Yeah.
Well, that's some harsh news also. So.
Are you stuck in your house for days, or did the kids go to school? Do you leave for...
No, that's the beauty. Really, the most wonderful thing that I saw was is that people get on with their regular day lives, and everybody goes to work. My wife goes to work. I go to work. Kids are in camp.
Well, I don't understand what the big deal is.
Bombs are dropping.
Yeah, but everyone does their own shit that doesn't let them interfere, and so I'm just positive reinforcement to him. That's all.
I see.
Because if you focus on the negative and what's wrong, then he's only going to focus on it. I'm trying to cheer him up by going, "Don't worry about it. It's all fine."
Did you just say don't focus on the negative and what's wrong?
What?
Don't worry about
this guy. I've been binging a lot of stuff, and it's helped me a lot.
It's a lot better to give advice than to take it.
Right.
So he's just giving it.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's ever
those who
going to
can't do teach. You know what I mean?
Can we play on some awesome hero theme music in the background?
Yeah, put some sword. Thank you.
Stop putting things on me that I have a real studio.
Fight for the right.
So should I just put on like a country Pandora station and every?
At least the theme
That's
for
Hulk
House.
Hogan.
Put a boot in your ass.
Boom.
All right. Well, listen, Levi. Good luck. Don't die.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
Please don't die.
Seriously, and make good beer while you're at. What are you going to name your beer? Some long name about bombs and
IED Pilsner
and Israel.
Something. Don't kill me, Saison.
Perfect.
That's a rare barrel name right there.
Thanks for helping save people.
Something.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, Levi. Stay safe, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Late.
All right.
Late.
There you go. What is he? Wait, was that Scott?
I don't know if my doctor
Did
would
Scott
ever
just
go
call in
late.
from the other room?
Must be a Jewish thing.
Yeah, that was Scott.
Late.
Thanks, Scott.
What's the other thing Scott says?
Bomb.
No, JP. What's the other thing Scott always does? It's not late, but come on, you always make fun of him for it. He has this, everything.
I thought it was bomb.
Everything's
Yeah.
bomb.
Well, he said bomb. But
Oh, he did. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said No, I was like, yeah, you say a lot, but not. But what's the other thing?
I'm telling you, Jews, bombs and late. That's
Bomb
it.
and late.
Like that's the bomb.
That's also a Santa Barbara thing.
The Rare Barrel beer is bomb.
All right.
It's a Santa Barbara. Thank you, Jay. It is the
Gauchos.
Santa Barbara.
No feedback tonight. We'll do it next week. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank the Rare Barrel for hanging out with us and bringing us amazing
Thanks
beer.
for having
Yeah,
us.
we're going to keep drinking it now if we can. You guys going to stay a little bit, the Hop Grenade?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's
good.
shut this place down.
Good. I'm not driving home. You're not driving home. Let's shut it down. We'll drink a little sour beer.
Yeah, drinks on Beardy.
We'll hang out. And
Are we doing the Twitter
All
game
night.
at least? Or?
I've got a name for next Rare Barrel. It's
yeah.
Bukkake Session Ale.
Jesus.
Okay. Is that a brown
Might as
ale?
well call it like anal rape.
No, it's a white, of course.
It's a white ale.
How about Bukkake in a garage? Because that's where he was for the 6 days.
That's not bad. That one's good.
Just give me like a.
No, you're not.
I don't recommend it.
JP,
I
this
don't
was me
recommend
actually paying homage to your cat. Can you see that? I wasn't even making
I'm not-
fun of your sad
Do you think
cat
I'm like
loss.
like?
I know you just gave the weird look to. You gave like the death look after the.
No, I gave the look like, wow, you floated one that just kind of hung out.
Oh, I
That
see.
was a terrible one.
Got it.
Because no one else said shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yes, Bevo. Anything? You good? You solid? She's shaking. Okay.
I'm great.
Okay.
Just anything but
Think we're
solid,
good.
but that's all right.
All right. Twitter game tonight was what was it? Name the next Rare Barrel beer.
Yeah, I think that's what that would have been a better one.
There's not enough characters.
I didn't hear about
on
that.
Twitter, dude.
What was it?
What if? What would the BN do with the drone?
There
Because
it
everyone
was.
has drones now.
You're right.
We actually have a lot of pretty good ones.
All right.
Dark Brewed Homebrew writes, drones for delivering microphones to brewcasters too lazy to come in for the session.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like this.
Kevin Johnson says, a drone to suck up all the NHC farts.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, too.
Not enough of them.
J-Bone 1717 says, renting it to Sugar Valley Brewer so he can finally find out if Bevo has hair down there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Dr. Lambic says, keeping an eye on Doc at NHC.
Yeah.
B and Darkside writes, aerial surveillance of JP's cat so we can concentrate on the show.
Yes.
Which I would appreciate. Harvey DeBunny writes, dropping massive amounts of sensual gifts, a.k.a. double-ended black dildos, on shitty breweries. I don't know why just on shitty breweries. Everyone deserves double-ended.
Dropping dicks on shitty breweries.
That'd take more than one drone.
Right.
It's a new TV show on Spike.
Half Monk says, rescuing Doc from the talons of his family.
Ooh. He needs that.
Can you imagine he could just summon air support and a drone would come and lift him up?
Take me away.
Or does it pick up its family?
Maybe.
And drop them in a ravine.
Yeah.
On a shitty brewery.
German Rocket says, shitty brewery. I can't believe that one.
Drop them in the what's your thing? The crevice or the hole?
Slot.
The slot.
The finger in the slot.
Finger in the slot.
I like it's your thing.
Right.
What's
Like
your
you're a
thing?
meteorologist.
That's our
or
thing.
something.
What is it that you do best? Oh, the finger in the slot.
Oh, the finger in the slot.
That's our move. Our go-to.
It's the new beer.
Yeah. Philip Grosvenor writes, POV sex toy. Scott Shake It writes, surveillance for unlicensed hop grenade logos. That was a
I like
recurring
that
theme.
one.
Mike B says Nate would probably use it to start a drone metal band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs everywhere.
Dropping metal bombs everywhere.
Padrona says distribution of Martians all over. You too can have your very own Chuck. And then, which I thought was funny, you can redistribute Martians.
Yeah.
They could use it at the borders. Gay Kyle writes to drop dildos on the faces of all the brewery owners who don't know what Google is and use the Hop Grenade logo.
Winner.
Gay Kyle!
Winner. Dildos on faces of trademark violators.
Who don't Bing properly.
It's the next BN t-shirt. Or the next name of a rare barrel. Dildos on faces of trademark violators.
Like
what do you think of that
3
one?
or 4 more words, and you're there.
We're not even close. Yeah.
Right.
I'm still a rookie at
Really
this, guys.
big
I'm trying to get there.
On the
A few
ugly
more
faces
adjectives. Maybe some
of the awful
adverbs.
people.
All right, Alex, Jay, I cannot thank you two enough for being here
Thank
and,
you, guys.
and hanging out with us and getting us beer to share with the Hop Grenade. You realize this is opening day. We have not been open to the public before you two, so in my book, this goes down in history, and I'm so proud to have you guys in here with us. I hope you'll come back. We have a lot more beer to talk about with you guys, and really just thanks. I'm excited to have you.
It's an honor to be here.
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
You feel like maybe we've peaked out on day one?
Yeah, I feel
Let's
like
retire.
I don't even know who our guest is next week, but I feel like it's going to be a lull.
Yeah, it'll all be downhill from here.
They're going to be great.
Look forward to that.
No, we're going to have a lot of good shows from here, and I hope that people will come hang out with us and have a good time. And you guys, it's great to kick it off with you two. So thanks for being here. All right, let's go drink some more Rare Barrel beer. JP, you ready to take us out of here?
Yep.
All right, great show. Thanks for being with us here, folks at the Hop Grenade, and we'll see you next Monday. Cheers.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Thanks to the handsome set of fellas from the Rare Barrel, look for them at fine drinking establishments near you, or just come visit them in Berkeley. Following JP on Twitter has never been a good idea, so please do not do it. For some good beer insight and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Warren... Production director on the session has been Push Eject. Today's show has been produced by Scott Moskowitz. JP was crying on the inside for the 24th season finale tonight. Bevo did some shit, and your host was Justin Crossley. Be sure to find the Beer Network on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy, and when